Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Zombie Nationwide. You are asked to eat people, and you create a forbidden spell. Chapter 31, 65 Underground City Core Area. Hong Yu looked at Shen Qing with satisfaction. Now, in her eyes, Shen Qing has long lost her original immaturity. Apex level bloodline plus body strengthening plus abnormal rage plus abnormal calmness. With the blessing of Apex level bloodline and 3 characteristics, Shen Qing's strength is not even worse than Gao Xiaoxiao. If he were to face a high-level zombie beast now, I'm afraid, even without turning on abnormal rage, he can be easily killed. Hong Yu praised. It is indeed an Apex level bloodline. The increase in the overall 3-phase attributes is really scary. Shen Qing. Sister Hong, what do you think of what I said before? Mentioning this matter, Hong Yu looked thoughtful. After a while, he replied while walking on his way. Let's do this. When the high-level corpse crystal mine is finalized, I will take you to visit the zombie army in Area 65. It would be nice to meet the Tangling you talk about. A few days ago, Shen Qing took the time to tell Hong Yu about Tangling and the agreement between them. Hong Yu did not give an accurate answer at the time. Just tell Shen Qing. It begins when a zombie awakens his apex-level bloodline and is reused by the zombie army. She and Shen Qing are no longer in the same world. As for Tangling taking Shen Qing to the earthly world, even if she could do it, how could the zombie army in Area 65 agree? Of course, this is only the best result. Zombies will become. In Hong Yu's heart, I'm afraid. The Tangling in Shen Qing's words will change sooner or later. Because it is too simple to change a zombie in the earthly world. Hong Yu looked at Shen Qing meaningfully and continued, however, I will tell you in advance. Zombies will all become. Even if she has been with you for many years, you'd better be mentally prepared. Shen Qing nodded and did not continue the topic. How could he not understand what Hong Yu meant? Tangling. That is the current goal of cultivating the zombie army in District 65, regardless of resources or privileges. They are all far superior to Shen Qing, a seemingly junior bloodline zombie. Coupled with Tangling's body-strengthening bloodline characteristics, I'm afraid. There is no way that the zombie army will let Shen Qing, a junior bloodline zombie, affect her. As for whether Tangling will change, Shen Qing is convinced. She won't. Otherwise, she would no longer be the clingy Tangling she was before. Core urban area. Among the 197 underground cities in the world, each core urban area is the most prosperous place in the underground city. It was also the first time for Shen Qing to come to the core urban area. I can't help but be attracted by the bustling scene in front of me. I just watched it from a distance before, but I didn't expect that the core area of the previously deserted underground city would be so lively. Closing square bracket. Thinking in mind, Shen Qing followed Hong Yu through several journeys and came to a shop in a corner. Hong Yu stopped and reminded, those zombies have weird personalities. Once you get in, you should talk less and watch more. Shen Qing nodded. He followed Hong Yu and walked in. Today, the main reason why Hong Yu brought Shen Qing here was because she looked familiar. After all, her deal with the zombie army in Area 77 itself only had 4 zombies. Now that there is one more person, he must at least explain things clearly. Inside the store. This is a shop that processes corpse crystals. Corpse crystals were a necessity for dungeon maintenance in the past. It is a special ore produced after the original ore is contaminated by zombie energy. The corpse crystals also have levels. Like the barren mineral vein that the Eastern excavation team is responsible for, the output is thin, and the corpse crystals produced are even inferior. It was also rated as a primary corpse crystal by the dungeon. The only purpose is to provide a meager amount of energy to the dungeon after processing. More similar to basic household electricity before the demise of mankind. Then there are the middle-level corpse crystals. The energy of the middle-level corpse crystal far exceeds that of the primary corpse crystal. After processing, it has a wider range of uses. While it can also be used to provide energy for dungeons, it can also be used for some special dungeon defense and maintenance. Area 65 Underground City has a total of 4 defensive sub-cities. The main purpose is to convert zombie energy when the executor attacks the dungeon, so as to fight back against the attacker. The daily maintenance of these 4 defensive sub-cities consumes middle-level corpse crystals. As for high-level quartz crystal and apex-level quartz crystal, these will only be used in the ground zombie army. Not suitable for use in dungeons. Noticing Shen Qing's curious gaze, Hongyu smiled and said, "You must be curious. After the quartz crystal is processed, it turns out to be so different from its original appearance." Shen Qing nodded slightly. In sight, those processed quartz crystals have completely changed their species. From the gray crystal ore at the beginning, it turned into a special energy crystal with a fixed shape like a transparent crystal. "Hongyu, when we get to the earthly world later, we will settle the matter. When the time comes, you will find that the elementary and middle-level quartz crystals are nothing compared to the high-level quartz crystals." The words fell. A rickety zombie walked out of the store. The other party smiled and pointed directly at the wooden table not far away without any nonsense. "Sit down. The red moon and Shen Qing are setting." The rickety zombie got straight to the point. "I have already told the superiors about the fact that you have one more zombie. The above meaning is that one more is not more, one less is not more, it doesn't matter. But the higher-ups still want me to advise you. If the high-level quartz crystal mine is implemented, 30% is really low enough, and it is also our biggest concession. Can you think about it again?" Hear the words. Hong Yu's beautiful eyebrows frowned slightly. She knew that every time she came here, there were always questions about the distribution of high-level quartz crystal veins. The high-level quartz crystal vein is an absolutely natural and never exploited large-scale mineral vein discovered by Hongyu many years ago in the above world. According to estimates at the time, the minimum output was over 1 million high-level quartz crystals. The reason why the zombie army in District 77 cooperated with Hongyu was mainly because they were interested in the high-level zombie crystal mine. From the beginning, Hongyu could only give up 10%. After that, under various coercion and inducements, Hongyu gave into 23%. Nowadays, the opponent actually paid 30% of his attention. Hongyu was a little unhappy. "Lao Qi, we haven't been in contact for more than a day or two. You also know my character. Without guidance, no one can find this high-level quartz crystal mine. I was the one who found it, and I am also the one responsible for mining it. You said I would just take us to the above-ground world and protect us to reach the high-level quartz crystal vein. For this matter, not only did you take away a lot of quartz core embryos from me, but now you actually plan to take 30%. Don't you think there are some lions in Area 77 who are talking too much?" Hear the words. Lao Qi wasn't angry either. He smiled and brought a cup of tea. While handing it to Hongyu, he said, "Look, you are still the same as before. You become anxious immediately after saying a few words. Aren't we discussing this? Everything is easy to talk about. If you can't say it can be done, then it can't be done. Don't affect our cooperation." This moment, Shen Qing finally understood. The rickety zombie named Lao Qi in front of him is a member of the ground zombie army in Area 77. He is also the zombie responsible for contact with Red Moon in Area 65. And the other party. All kinds of excessive demands have been made from the beginning. Cadaver core embryos are also good. The distribution of high-level quartz crystal ores is also good. From beginning to end, the zombies in Area 77 are all planning to continuously suck blood from Hongyu. Shen Qing suddenly recalled a sentence that Hongyu had mentioned. He narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at Lao Qi. Shen Qing secretly said, "If one day, the zombie army is completely different from what I expected. Closing square bracket. What should I do then?" Closing square bracket. It seems that Sister Hong knew that the zombie army was not as heroic as what was said in class. Closing square bracket. They are a group of greedy, profit-minded guys. Closing square bracket. Hee. Is this the new zombie from your Eastern excavation team? Lao Qi changed the topic appropriately. His eyes fell on Shen Qing. Tisk tisk. Elementary bloodline zombies have no characteristics. Hongyu, it seems you finally have a normal zombie next to you. Shen Qing narrowed his eyes slightly, looking at the red moon with some surprise. He was a little surprised. From what Lao Qi said, it seemed that the other party understood by Wuhua and the others. Hongyu nodded and said, "Yes. After this, when I go to the above world, I can't live without a normal zombie around me. After all, Lao Bai and I are both problem zombies, so there is no guarantee that something unexpected will happen." Find a primary bloodline zombie with no characteristics. Be obedient. It's easier to control. At least, whether he can turn over or not is up to me. About Shen Qing's apex level bloodline and 3 characteristics. Hongyu deliberately avoided it, and what she said is that the characteristics less primary bloodline zombies are obedient. This sentence is indeed true. For primary bloodline zombies without characteristics, they have only one future. Become a low-level worker in the dungeon. And it's the kind that will never turn over. Unless your child can awaken high-level bloodline in the future. Otherwise, even the middle-level bloodline cannot make them stand up. This is the most realistic aspect of dungeons. This is also the reason why those low-level bloodline zombies who are already hungry continue to give birth to children. Because they want to turn over. And under normal circumstances, the Red Moon provides Shen Qing with an opportunity to turn around. As a junior bloodline zombie, Shen Qing is naturally obedient. It makes sense to be easy to control. Lao Qi chuckled. The eyes looking at Shen Qing were no longer interested. Okay, I've recorded the person. When we go to the earthly world, there will be a place for him. As soon as the words fell, Hongyu and Shen Qing stood up. Lao Qi smiled and added, Hongyu, regarding the 30% allocation, you can think about it after you go back. We will also show more sincerity here. After all, without our help, it will be difficult for you to carry out mining equipment and other equipment. Red Moon, leave the store, Shen Qing asked in confusion. Does District 77 know the strength of Lao Bai and the others? Hongyu, of course, there's nothing strange about this. In front of some extremely high awakening value zombies, zombies with low awakening value will have no secrets. It's just like Lao Qi was able to see through all your superficial strengths just now. Shen Qing, what kind of strength was that Lao Qi just now? Hongyu smiled bitterly and smacked her lips. High-level bloodline zombie, bloodline awakening value 76%. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. So strong, Shen Qing was a little shocked. A zombie that looks rickety gives the impression that it is even more difficult to move. But his awakening value has reached a terrifying high of 76%. While understanding this, Shen Qing had another doubt. Shen Qing, then the zombie army in Area 65 can rest assured that he will stay in the underground city. Hongyu nodded. Of course. It can add one more high-level bloodline zombie with a bloodline awakening value of 76% in the dungeon. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, it's all a good thing, right? What's more, we zombies are different from humans. The relationship between dungeons and dungeons has always been good. This is true. Shen Qing had learned about humans in school records. Before the demise of mankind, there were a group of very weird creatures. They will fight for resources and interests. Even started a war because of it. And they are zombies. Maybe it's because the enforcers are always a threat to every dungeon. Under such high pressure, it actually made the 197 dungeons extra united. There have never been any disputes or conflicts. Hongyu smiled softly, patted Shen Qing's shoulder and said, okay, let's make preparations recently. I'm afraid we will be leaving for the earthly world in less than 5 days. Pack up everything you need to bring at home. Night. Recently, the Eastern Excavation team has 2 mining trucks. I get off work surprisingly early every day. Shen Qing, who originally planned to go to the Beast Cave to increase his awakening value, was informed by Hongyu. His bloodline awakening value has increased too quickly recently, and it will take some time to adapt and develop his abilities. Ever since, Shen Qing had nothing to do today, so she planned to go back to the zombie home to pack her things. Preparing for the earthly world in a few days. Area 65 Zombie Outer City. The people living in this area are the grassroots zombies who have the least zombie rights. Neither their children nor their parents have any high-level zombies. I'm afraid I can only live in this relatively shabby area for the rest of my life. Dim lights. The dark streets turned yellow. As Shen Qing walked, she was thinking about the details Hongyu had just told. Is the increase in extreme body strengthening itself just one of the uses of this characteristic? Closing square bracket. Conducive to the overall strengthening of the whole body, can we explore more unexplored areas? Closing square bracket. I really haven't thought about this. Closing square bracket. I don't know, what are the more unexplored areas of overall body strengthening? Closing square bracket. Kaka. Sudden. An anomaly sound came from the dark street corner. Shen Qing has walked this road for many years, knowing that around that corner is a different alley. Kaka. The sound came out again. Shen Qing looked confused. The next second, buzz. A pair of blood-red eyes suddenly lit up. Followed closely, without any plan to give Shen Qing a reaction. A blood-red light swept directly across. The speed is so fast, only in the blink of an eye. Abnormal rage 58% increase. Instantly activate the abnormal state of violence, the body bursts out at extremely fast speed. While narrowly dodging another blow, a violent explosion also appeared behind Shen Qing. Boom. Looking back in shock, wherever the blood-red light passed just now, those originally unshakable houses were destroyed in an instant. The zombies inside may have fallen asleep, but they didn't even understand what happened until they died. Shen Qing said, "Who? Get out of here." While talking, all the various increases in extreme body strengthening were activated. The light just now made Shen Qing aware of the threat of death. Judging from the destructive extent of the light alone, this destructive power is at least at the level of a zombie beast king. Kaka. Kaka. Anomaly's voice came again, as the scarlet eyes gradually came closer. Under the dim light, Shen Qing finally saw the figure in the alley clearly. The whole body is silvery white metal. The scarlet eyes are not real eyeballs, but two image capture cameras glowing red. The body looks like a money wolf, but it has a body size of nearly 3 meters, and two special weapons are embedded in the wolf's waist. As for the location where the red light emitted just now, not those two weapons, but the wolf head. A special red spot in the center of the forehead. Such appearance, such characteristics. For a moment, Shen Qing was shocked. This is Executor. Kaka. The scarlet color in the Executor's eyes became deeper and deeper. At the same time, the weapons on both sides of the wolf's waist also began to glow with light blue energy. Shen Qing held his breath as if facing a formidable enemy. What the hell is going on? Executors appear in the dungeon. Is it possible that the dungeon has fallen? Because of the special characteristics of Mastiff dogs. These days, Shen Qing almost always places it in the Eastern Excavation Group. In order to prevent this alien zombie beast king from causing trouble. Because of this decision, Shen Qing regretted it for the first time today. The figure quickly retreated, and after several dodgers, it was already far away from the executor's range. Looking around, Shen Qing frowned and thought to himself. Absolutely not wrong. Closing square bracket. Such physical characteristics are exactly what the textbook describes as an executor. Closing square bracket. Combined with the intensity of the attack just now, I'm afraid. This is a high-level executor. Closing square bracket. High-level executor. Even if Hongyu encountered her, she would only run away. Because the strength of the high-level executor is equal to that of the alien zombie beast king. Even strong will is not weak. In other words, Shen Qing is now facing an enemy more powerful than the alien zombie beast king. Why didn't the underground city's defensive sub-city sound the alarm? A high-level executor sneaks into the dungeon. This can definitely destroy an entire city. Shen Qing didn't dare to tell the truth. Allowing the high-level executors to continue to stay here will indeed lead to a massacre of those low-level bloodline zombies who are powerless. But Shen Qing alone can't stop it at all. So, without any hesitation, Shen Qing quickly ran towards the Eastern Excavation team. It was less than a minute after Shen Qing left. Boom. There was a violent explosion, mixed with a rolling heat wave. He ran as fast as he could while looking back. Shen Qing's pupils suddenly dilated. Only because the high-level executor just now has actually caught up with him. Shen Qing, are you coming for me? The high-level executor is a high-level machine created by Infinite Evolution's AI artificial intelligence to target zombies. After hundreds of years of changes, while the zombies are getting stronger, so are the high-level executors. Just the speed shown by this high-level executor. If it were turned into an agility attribute, it would have exceeded 500 at least. Fear, is this the enemy that the zombie army on the ground needs to fight against all year round? Red light sweeps, extreme body strengthening and leg amplification. Light green light appeared on Shen Qing's legs. At the same time, his speed increased again. While narrowly dodging one blow after another, Shen Qing did not intend to fight back. Extreme body strengthening and leg explosive increase. Boom! Smoke and dust exploded. Shen Qing directly turned into a stream of light in the darkness, moving away from the pursuit of the high-level executor at an astonishing speed. Even a high-level performer's agility is likely to have exceeded 500. In the face of Shen Qing's current burst of speed, it seemed a bit difficult to chase. After counting dozens of seconds, the high-level executor has been completely dumped by Shen Qing. It's too scary. Now that I have 50% bloodline awakening value and all the increases in agility, can I leave out the high-level executors? If it's a Fissioner, wouldn't it be impossible for me to even escape? Looking at the high-level executor behind him who had gradually turned into smaller dots, Shen Qing said in a strong tone. Continue to speed up and run towards the Eastern Excavation Team. Although Shen Qing, the high-level executor, is invincible, he cannot be allowed to remain in the dungeon. Shen Qing had never encountered such a thing before, and was unsure about what to do. So, notify Hongyu as soon as possible that this former zombie army on the ground should have countermeasures. At the same time, Area 65 Underground Outer City. The scarlet eyes of the high-level executor who lost his target gradually faded away. Then little by little it changes to a peaceful green. However, at some point, a dark figure stood quietly on the back of the high-level executor. Gaze into the distance. That was the direction Shen Qing left. Moment. Are you sure this is just a junior bloodline zombie? This speed and agility are at least over 500, right? The shadow shrugged and jumped off the high-level executor. While landing smoothly, he waved his hand. The 3-meter high-level executor disappeared out of thin air. Subsequently, then I heard the black shadow say, "Boss, a very interesting guy seems to have appeared in Area 65. How about it? Do you want to find a way to catch it back?" There is a special small machine hanging on the black shadow's ear. Several green light spots flashed in the mechanical center. Don't affect the plan. Bring back the special alien zombie beast king as soon as possible. The shadow shrugged. I know. The words fell. A dark shadow flashed, just disappeared in place. Half an hour later, Area 65 Underground Outer City. Red Moon, White 5 Flowers, Gao Xiaoxiao, Mu Bangtu. The 4 zombies came here under the leadership of Shen Qing. But the expressions of the 5 zombies looked quite strange. Bai Wuhua, Xiao Qingzi. What did I say? There is a high-level executor in our underground city. How many dishes are there? Are you drunk like this? Shen Qing couldn't believe it. No, he just appeared here. Hongyu frowned slightly, and a special instrument in her hand kept flashing. Moment, Hongyu said. The instrument shows that there are some energy nuclear fluctuations of some executors remaining nearby. Shen Qing, take me to the place where you were first attacked. Shen Qing nodded and continued walking forward with the 4 zombies. Along the way, Mu Bangtu disappeared without speaking. Shen Qing glanced at the mastiff following behind him, and his uneasy heart was relieved. Soon, under the leadership of Shen Qing, the zombies came to the location where he was attacked. Shen Qing pointed to the completely destroyed residential buildings and said, "That's where the executioners attacked me." Hongyu frowned, and Bai Wuhua did the same. Because it's in their sight. In the direction that Shen Xiao pointed, a ditch appeared on the ground that seemed to be melted. The ditch is not deep, less than half a meter at most. The width is only about 1 meter. But wherever the ditch passed, as long as there were buildings, there were huge explosions. You can even see the severed limbs of zombies on the ground. Bai Wuhua looked solemn. Sister Hong, is this the executioner's attack method? Isn't the plane a bit too far-fetched? The ground can be burned through. Hongyu nodded. She couldn't figure it out. Why do high-level executors suddenly appear in the dungeon of Area 65? Moreover, the entire defensive sub-city of the underground city did not sound an alarm, and did not even seem to notice it. Hongyu said, "I have notified the defense in the core city area to station zombies. I think they'll be here soon. Shen Qing, remember. In your memory, the zombie who encountered the high-level executor this time was not you, but me." Shen Qing nodded heavily. He knows what the red moon means. After all, for a primary bloodline zombie with no characteristics and a bloodline awakening value of 1%. Not to mention meeting a high-level executor. Even a junior executor. Even a junior zombie beast could directly kill him. If Shen Qing met the executor, then the zombies stationed in defense would ask him how he survived. This is really hard to explain. Turn your head slightly. Watching the zombie figure that has gradually appeared not far away. Hongyu said again, okay. They're coming. I have remembered all the details about the high-level executors. Don't say anything more. It was at the same time that Hongyu finished speaking. 3 zombies with high-level bloodlines and bloodline awakening values above 60% appeared. One of them even couldn't help but let out a light tut when he saw the red moon. Tisk, where's the executor? Red moon, I wish you could give me an explanation. Defend against stationed zombies. They are another force in the dungeon besides the order group. Moreover, they are directly subordinate to the ground zombie army. They are zombies in the zombie army who are specifically responsible for dungeon defense. Naturally, the target was also the executioner's attack on the dungeon. At this time, the 3 high-level bloodline zombies frowned deeply. He was not polite at all when talking to Hongyu. It is not difficult to hear it from between the lines of the other party's words. They seemed to have known each other before. Hongyu's face remained unchanged. She spread her hands and said, I don't know. It just disappeared into thin air. Hear the words. One of the high-level zombies suddenly became angry. Are you kidding us? Can the executor disappear out of thin air? Do you think we are mentally retarded? Hongyu. Nuo, this is what you said. You, too lazy to tangle with the other party. Hongyu pointed to the destroyed residences' houses and said, take a good look at the detector yourself. In this area, there are still energy fluctuations left by the executor's attack. The 3 high-level bloodline zombies who originally planned to go into a rage immediately put away their anger. He frowned slightly and approached with a special instrument. Follow closely. Shen Qing noticed that the expressions of the 3 zombies changed obviously. Then they were seen talking to each other. Indeed, energy fluctuations exist, and judging from the magnitude of the energy fluctuations, they are at least among middle-level executors and may even be high-level executors. How can this be? The detection system of the defense city has not detected it. Could it be possible that the executor flew in? I'm afraid I need to report this matter to the person in charge, if the executor can enter the dungeon so easily. I'm afraid not. There will be big problems with the defense and detection methods of the 197 underground cities around the world. The dialogue between the 3 zombies was not deliberately avoided. Shen Qing and the others also listened. Moment. Discussion ended. One of the 3 high-level bloodline zombies seriously questioned Hongyu. Specific situation. Hongyu. I happened to pass by and found the executor. Judging from the attack methods and destructive power, it should be a high-level executor. You also know that the superiors do not allow me to use my bloodline characteristics, so I can only run. A woman among the 3 zombies asked again, why are you here? As far as I know, this place is quite far away from your east side, and you don't have many acquaintances here. Hongyu said with some displeasure, I mean Wang Yu. Is there something wrong with you? Where do I need to report to you? Do I still need you to accompany me when I go to the toilet? Wang Yu. I tell you Hongyu, this matter is very serious. I hope you can give me a detailed account of the fact that there are executors who can bypass detection in the dungeon. Besides, you need to keep every word in mind. Hongyu said coldly, idiot. Wang Yu was angered and wanted to take action seeing the posture, but was eventually stopped by the other 2 zombies around him. After a while, one of the zombies said again, if you have time, go to the defense office in charge of the city. For the safety of the underground city, we still hope to know as many details as possible. Hongyu waved her hand at Shen Qing and others. Gone. At the same time, I'll go when I have time. After Hongyu, Shen Qing and other zombies left. Wang Yu's expression turned completely dark. I saw her clenching her fists angrily. Qingxi, why are you stopping me? Why don't you let me teach that madman a lesson? The zombie who was the calmest just now and was also the organizer of Wang Yu was the strong sun in her mouth. Qingxi sighed and shook his head. There's no need for this. She has been expelled to the underground city, and we all know what happened back then. That's because the ability is out of control, Hongyu. Wang Yu. Fart. Ability out of control. The original situation was explained by the lunatic himself. Who can prove that it was out of control? My brother just had a conflict with him not long ago, and then he lost control of his abilities and killed all the team members. Hadron, do you think this is reasonable? Hadron. Wang Yu gritted her teeth and glared at the direction Hong Yu was leaving. Even if her ability is out of control, she killed my brother. This is an ironclad fact. I'm really curious why this lunatic wasn't executed directly back then. Amidst the curses, Qingxi and another zombie took Wang Yu away from here. At the same time, this side of the Red Moon, today's Shen Qing's dealings with zombies are already different from those in the past. Not good at words, that's also divided into people. For Hong Yu and Bai Wuhua, Shen Qing's words were obviously much better than before. Shen Qing, Sister Hong, who was the female zombie just now? Hong Yu waved her hand indifferently. We are an old acquaintance, and I will kill her brother. When this matter was mentioned, Hong Yu's expression was calm and relaxed, as if she was stating her opinion on something normal. However, Shen Qing felt as if she had been struck by lightning. What, did you kill her brother? Hong Yu nodded. Bai Wuhua and other zombies seemed to have known about this for a long time and did not show much surprise. Hong Yu explained, do you still remember when I lost control of my ability in the earthly world? That time, his brother was also in my team. Then, a few days before my ability went out of control, I dared to reject his brother's pursuit. Unexpectedly, a few days later, I lost control of my ability and killed all my teammates. That guy Wang Yu probably has a grudge because of this and thinks I did it on purpose. Shen Qing, he didn't expect that there would be such details in Hong Yu's loss of control. After waving her hand, Hong Yu ended the topic. Be careful when you go back at night. If possible, live in the Eastern Excavation Group. If you really want to go back to the zombie army's family home, bring the Mastiff with you. Although it is also a big risk, at least it is much better than letting yourself face the executor. Shen Qing nodded. Today is indeed dangerous. If Shen Qing hadn't improved in strength and mastered the abnormal rage within the scope of reason, he would have been able to survive. I am afraid, facing the high-level executor, Shen Qing had no chance to escape. Just getting the blood-red light can kill him. Bai Wuhua scratched his head. Sister Hong, where did the executor go? And how did he appear? Could it have been created out of thin air, and then disappeared out of thin air after attacking Xiao Qingzi? Gao Xiaoxiao jumped up with all his strength and knocked Bai Wuhua on the head. Old Bai, are you stupid? You're such a big executor, tell me how to change it. Can you change it for me? Mu Bengtu rolled his eyes at Bai Wuhua and said softly, I'm sick. Hong Yu shook her head. These are not things we need to worry about. The presence of enforcers in the dungeon is a matter of defense against the zombies stationed there. Let's seize the time to prepare. In a few days, we will leave for the earthly world. The words paused slightly here. Hong Yu had a serious look on her face. Remember, none of you have been to the earthly world. The dangers there are far beyond your imagination. The next day, Eastern Excavation Group. In less than a morning, Shen Qing and the others completed today's Corpse Crystal mission. Noon, just had a meal. A group of uninvited guests arrived unexpectedly in Hong Yu. Leader of the Eastern Excavation Team, Hong Yu. Hong Yu nodded. Yes, the leader of the zombies had cold eyes, come with us. Shen Qing noticed that the overall strength of this group of zombies was not high. They are all middle-level zombies. It should be from the order group. Hong Yu spreads her hands. He waved his hand to Shen Qing, motioning for him to follow, and then said, let's go. Bai Wuhua, Gao Xiaoxiao, and Mu Lengtu looked calm and relaxed. From beginning to end, there was no trace of nervousness on the faces of the three of them. It didn't take long. District 65 Underground Core City. Grassroots Management Department. Hong Yu and Shen Qing were invited in by this group of zombies from the order group. Certainly, that's the literal meaning. Please come in. As soon as I entered the office, the leader of the order team nodded to the zombies inside. Old Fang, the people are here. After you find out, remember to report to the order team. The zombie named Lao Fang smiled calmly. As the zombies from the order group left, he waved to Shen Qing and Hong Yu. He motioned for them to sit down and said. It was at this time that Shen Qing discovered. This zombie called Lao Fang turned out to be an old man with a hunchback. For zombies, The lifespan is long, and the aging rate of various body functions is also very slow. Zombies that look like the old man generally live for at least 150 years. In the dungeon, even the grassroots have some status. Of course, the premise is that you must have made outstanding contributions to the dungeon, otherwise. Even if you live for 500 years, you will still be a resident of a residential area in an outer city. The old man had a kind face, and after Shen Qing and Hongyu sat down, he brought 2 cups of tea. He handed it to them and said at the same time, "Zhao Hong, I know your character. So, I won't beat around the bush. You must know the reason why I called you here today. Tell me, where did those 2 digging cars come from?" In fact, Shen Qing had already guessed it when he came to the grassroots management department. Now, Lao Feng's words have confirmed this. Shen Qing felt a little embarrassed, feeling that he was trying to create the inherent talent of his bloodline, thus causing some trouble to Hongyu. Hongyu took a sip of tea and lit a cigarette very leisurely. "I don't care at all whether smoking is allowed in this office." Hiss. After hesitating, Hongyu said, "I picked it up. Didn't that guy Dong Ao tell you?" Lao Feng still looked smiling. He nodded and said, "I told you. Besides, he said that was your excuse. He also said that you definitely stole the mining truck, but there was no evidence." Hongyu, do you believe it? Lao Feng, what do you think? Hongyu shrugged. If you don't believe it, then why do you want me to come? Don't you know that I like to take a lunch break at this time every day? Lao Feng was amused by Hongyu's attitude, but he still seemed not angry. And what is revealed between the lines is the close relationship between him and Hongyu. Lao Feng continued, "I have sent people to check, and none of our mining teams in Area 65 have lost mining trucks. That's why I'm a little confused. Since you didn't lose it, where did you pick it up?" Hongyu took a puff of cigarette and raised her chin slightly. "No, ask this boy. He picked up the mining truck." As Hongyu finished speaking, Lao Feng's eyes finally fell on Shen Qing. He still had that smiling face, but the other party looked very nervous. Because, somehow, when Shen Qing saw this old Feng, he always reminded him of an idiom in human language recorded in the records. "A smile hides a knife." Lao Feng, hey, don't be nervous, little guy. I'm just going to ask a few questions. Where did you pick up this mining truck? Shen Qing's face was not red and her heart was not beating. The entrance to the eastern mine. Lao Feng nodded. What are the specific details? Where is it? Shen Qing. The door. Lao Feng. Both cars. Shen Qing. Yes. Lao Feng's originally smiling expression changed for the first time. He frowned slightly and pinched his beard with his skinny fingers, seeming to be thinking. Moment. Then you never thought about where this mining truck came from? This time, before it was Shen Qing's turn to answer, Hongyu had already spoken first. No, I mean Lao Feng. You also asked, and he also answered. It wasn't lost elsewhere, and we didn't steal it. There seems to be nothing wrong with this, right? You asked him where the mining truck came from. If he knew, he would have told you before. Is it possible to tell you that this thing was conjured out of thin air? Shen Qing. Sister Hong's guess is so accurate. Closing square bracket. Lao Feng chuckled and said with a smile on his face again, okay. I won't ask any more. I'm just curious. We haven't lost the entire Area 65 dungeon, but these 2 mining trucks really exist. Sometimes, I really wonder if this little guy can really conjure a car out of thin air. Hongyu chuckled. Old Feng, your joke is not funny at all. Lao Feng sneered. I know. Seeing that nothing could be found, Lao Feng stood up. Okay, since the other departments are not missing, these 2 mining trucks can continue to stay in the Eastern Excavation Team. Others are nothing serious. That's right, since the Eastern Excavation Team now has 2 mining trucks, the indicator for corpse crystals should be set at 80 yuan per day. Hongyu had no objection, waved her hand, and left the office with Shen Qing. After Hongyu and Shen Qing left, sitting in the office, Lao Feng's expression changed obviously. The original kind smile also disappeared. Instead, there were narrowed eyes and a look full of scheming. Strange. Where did these 2 mining trucks come from? Is it possible that this was transformed by zombies from the east? It seems that we need to pay more attention to the east in the future. This group of problematic zombies still cannot stop. The other side. Hongyu, who had just walked out of the grassroots management department, took Shenqing but did not go towards the eastern excavation team. Instead, he walked in the opposite direction. Shenqing didn't ask either. Just silently following Hongyu, passed through the bustling core area. Beyond the outermost wall of the core urban area. They waited until Shenqing was taken away from the city, even out of the outer city. Shenqing then asked in confusion, "Sister Hong, where are we going?" Hongyu raised her chin towards the distance. Nuo, the office responsible for the defense of the sub-city. Although the red moon looks at the site, buildings like the pillars of the entire underground city came into view. After this building, there is the only passage to the above-ground world in the underground city of Area 65. Also known as the place of the ladder of life. Ignore the defense of the sub-city. Shenqing's eyes fell directly on the huge vertical cableway of the ladder of life. Is it possible to reach the earthly world just by passing through here? Closing square bracket. Phew, it's the first time I'm so close. I wonder what the world on the ground will look like. Closing square bracket. I don't know if Tangling is okay. Closing square bracket. Responsible for the defense of the sub-city. Sister Hong, are you here? Sister Hong, you are beautiful again. Along the way, almost all zombies will call her Sister Hong, respectfully when they see the red moon. The relationship between Hongyu and the zombies here is very unusual. However, the more this happens, the more puzzled Shenqing becomes. If Hongyu's relationship with the defense sub-city's responsible office is unusual, then why did the 3 defense garrison zombies that appeared earlier have such an attitude? Just because of that female zombie Wang Yu. After several twists and turns. Responsible office. As soon as Hongyu opened the door, a laughing voice came from inside. Coming. As the door opened, a rather handsome middle-aged zombie came into view. Not only that, this middle-aged zombie exudes a sense of power. Although he is not tall. But for some reason, when Shenqing saw him for the first time, she felt that this zombie was definitely very powerful. Dao Liang pointed to the clean sofa and said, "Sit." Hongyu didn't hesitate, sat down, and then lit a cigarette as usual. Dao Liang didn't care at all, and just like Lao Feng before, he brought 2 cups of tea. Then he sat opposite Hongyu and Shenqing and said straight to the point, "So far, we have not found any trace of the executor." The executor really seemed to disappear out of thin air. Hongyu, what do you think of this? Hongyu took a puff of cigarette. Could it be related to that group of people? As soon as these words came out, Dao Liang nodded immediately. I think so too. It's just that, judging from the energy fluctuations detected on site, those who appeared in the outer city are definitely high-level executors. The control limit of those guys is middle level. So, Dao Liang paused. Hongyu followed up and said, I can control high level now. There's nothing surprising. After all, those guys have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to control a fissioner one day. Dao Liang, that's true. It's just that if we continue, I'm afraid that our underground city may not be their opponent. Hongyu spread her hands indifferently. That's the zombie army's business, and it has nothing to do with me. Dao Liang was a little embarrassed. He pushed up the glasses frame on the tip of his nose and said, well, the zombie army asked you to come to the dungeon. The other purpose is to get you to help us. So I was thinking, how about you give it a try? Hongyu sneered. Aren't you afraid that I will lose control of my ability and destroy the entire dungeon? Dao Liang, afraid. Whenever I think about it, I'm almost afraid of death, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's not easy for the zombie army now. A small fissioner camp appeared in the undeveloped area in the southwest, where most of the backbone of the zombie army has gone. So, it has been decided from above that they want you to join the responsible department and assist in the investigation of the executor this time. Hongyu didn't hesitate at all, not interested. Wouldn't it be nice to drink, smoke and sleep every day? I have to come here to suffer from you. I have nothing to do. Shenqing silently watched the conversation between the 2 zombies. You can find out from their conversations. The middle-aged zombie in front of him is named Dao Liang, who is now the general person in charge of the underground city defense sub-city in District 65. And he and Hongyu were also on the same team back then. Hongyu is his captain. As for why he is still alive, it can only be said to be a coincidence. During the battle when Hong Yu's ability went out of control, Dao Liang happened to go back to the dungeon for some personal matters. Only then did he survive. He can be regarded as the zombie with the best relationship with Hong Yu in the entire zombie army. As for him, he was clearly part of the zombie army on the ground. Why is he in the underground city now? These were not mentioned and Shen Qing did not know. After a conversation, after Hong Yu finished describing the details of what happened that day, she waved her hand and said, "Okay. I've said everything that needs to be said. If there's nothing else, I'll go back first." Dao Liang did not continue to mention the previous topic, but stood up and planned to send the Red Moon. From beginning to end, Shen Qing was like air. However, the moment the office door opened, a female zombie with a frown and an angry face appeared. "Come here." Without saying anything, Wang Yu took Hong Yu and left. It was obvious that he was looking for trouble. Dao Liang chuckled. "Wang Yu, pay attention to your identity and attitude." "Wang Yu, brother Dao, this matter has nothing to do with you. It is my private matter and you have no right to interfere." While they were talking, 2 more zombies came running towards them, looking like they were trying to dissuade them. Shen Qing remembered that these 2 zombies were the same ones he had just seen yesterday. "Qingxi, Yu, stop making trouble and come with me quickly." "Wang Yu, I'm going to leave. You made me endure it for so long." "Okay, I'll endure it. But what about her? She acted like a normal person all day long and never even said an apology. What do you think I should do? Licking my face and smiling at each other? Don't be kidding, she killed my brother with her own hands." Wang Yu's voice was loud. Shen Qing looked at it and couldn't help but hear a name used before the demise of mankind. "Shrew, Hong Yu, why should I apologize to you if he dies?" As soon as these words came out, Wang Yu, who was already furious, suddenly exploded. "What the hell are you talking about? You killed my brother and you asked me why I apologize." Hong Yu picked her ears. The first iron rule of the ground zombie army. When you join the zombie army, you must always be prepared to die. It is normal for casualties to occur during missions. Wang Yu's hands trembled with anger, and he said angrily with clenched teeth, "But how did my brother die? If the executor killed him, I wouldn't say a thing, but he was killed by you yourself. Hong Yu, who among my team members doesn't know my characteristics? So, who do you think is not prepared to be killed one day because of the out-of-control characteristics of my bloodline?" "Idiot." The words fell. Hong Yu waved her hand to Shen Qing. "Let's go." With a casual movement, she slapped Wang Yu's hand away from her. Hong Yu and Shen Qing walked outside in a swaggering manner. As for Wang Yu behind him, those eyes that wanted to tear Hong Yu apart never left her from the beginning to the end. Soon, after leaving the responsible office, Hong Yu took Shen Qing for a long time without saying a word. "Wait until they come very close to the ladder of life. Look up. Through the ropeway of the ladder of life, you can see a faint small point of light at the top." Hong Yu chuckled. "Are you afraid of me?" Shen Qing was stunned and did not answer. Soon, Hong Yu asked again. "Shen Qing, are you afraid that one day I will kill you because my abilities are out of control?" This time, Shen Qing answered simply, "I'm not afraid." Hong Yu's delicate body visibly paused. "Why?" "Shen Qing, no reason. When I am so strong that you are no match for me. Your abilities are out of control. Is there still a threat?" Hong Yu's delicate body froze again. He turned his head slightly and looked at Shen Qing. "I don't know when." Her beautiful eyes were already filled with tears. Giggle, couldn't help but smile. Hong Yu reached out and knocked Shen Qing on the head. Just wait another 100 years. Fool." Hong Yu's last words were spoken in a very low voice. Shen Qing didn't hear it, but it can be seen from Hong Yu's face that her previous bad mood has been swept away. Look up and continue to look towards the end of the ladder of life. Red Moon, a dungeon, a ladder of life. But there is a separation between the earth beneath and the earth above. Indeed, this is to protect the zombies, but at the same time, isn't it imprisoning the zombies? Shen Qing, he wanted to ask something, but was interrupted by Hong Yu before he could speak. Hong Yu waved her hand. "Let's go." The entire journey was silent. Until he was approaching the Eastern excavation team, Shen Qing couldn't help it anymore. "Shen Qing, Sister Hong, what's going on with Wang Yu's brother? I have a feeling there are other shady secrets. Shen Qing asked and made a suitable joke at the same time. Hong Yu chuckled, stopped and lit a cigarette. You little brat, have you been carrying gossip in your head all day? Seeing Shen Qing's embarrassment, Hong Yu smiled gently, her eyes full of tenderness. Remember what I said yesterday, right? Wang Yu's brother chased me before he died. Even at that time, he was still crazy about me, so much so that I almost killed him a few times because of my impatience. So, when the accident happened, Wang Yu, who knew about it, naturally thought that I killed his brother on purpose. Shen Xiao, isn't this crazy? Hong Yu spread her hands. Yes, that's why I called her a fool. The two zombies looked at each other, and couldn't help laughing for the next second. Be silent for a while. When Hong Yu finished smoking the cigarette in her hand, Shen Qing asked again, then why are you feeling so uncomfortable, Sister Hong? Is it because they are all teammates? After asking this question, Shen Qing already realized that he had asked a particularly retarded question. But Hong Yu's answer made Shen Qing slightly stunned. Hong Yu. No, I never considered them my teammates from the beginning to the end. So, I have no trouble with their deaths. Shen Qing. That. Hong Yu interrupted and lit another cigarette. Back then, I had a nickname among the zombie army on the ground. I'm called a killing machine. Because I have no feelings, and I will never show any feelings to anyone. Whether it's a teammate, an enemy, or even facing the commander of the zombie army in District 65, I don't show any emotion. As for why, I don't know. Anyway, every time I think about it now, I feel that I was quite funny at that time. He's just a walking show-off machine. Shen Qing was a little surprised. Hong Yu now has a distinct personality, and she feels more like a sharp-tongued elder sister. He really couldn't associate Red Moon with the killing machine. Shen Qing. Then why don't you pretend to be coughing or not cold now? Shen Qing almost said the word, pretentious. Hong Yu is not stupid, she must have guessed what his unfinished sentence was right away. He immediately smiled and nodded Shen Qing's forehead. What else could it be because of? It must be the zombie that influenced my life. Your mother, Long Yu. Shen Qing. My mother again. Closing square bracket. How much influence did my mother have on Sister Hong back then? Closing square bracket. Shen Qing's curiosity about his mother became more and more intense. If his parents hadn't gone missing, Shen Xiao would have wanted to go to the above world and ask his mother. Mom, what kind of ecstasy soup did you pour into Hong Yu? Hong Yu didn't pay attention to Shen Qing's silence. He continued, minding his own business. Your mother is half of my emotional enlightenment teacher. I regard her as the goal of my life, and she is also the person I admire and respect the most in my life. Otherwise, why do you think I accepted you, a weakling with no characteristics and a primary bloodline zombie? Shen Qing. Just say what you say, why are you belittling me again? Closing square bracket. I'm super strong, okay. Closing square bracket. Unknowingly, no matter what Shen Qing thinks in his heart or what he says. The relationship between him and Hong Yu is getting closer quickly. Of course they are not a couple like Tang Ling. After putting out the cigarette, Hong Yu spread her hands and said nonchalantly, okay, let's talk about other things later. When I go to the earthly world, I will learn about your parents and my past. I can tell you whatever you want to know. The conversation changed. Hong Yu suddenly stretched out her slender jade fingers and lifted Shen Qing's chin. Shen Qing could clearly smell that there was still a faint smell of tobacco left on Hong Yu's fingertips. The Red Moon's beautiful eyes were drawn, and the red lips were slightly opened. The premise is that you must be my little lover honestly. Huh, where has Shen Qing seen this battle? That gray-white face suddenly turned red. The whole body is burning hot. The Red Moon lit up and laughed, seeming very proud. You brat, I'm teasing you. Look at how bad you are. I really hope Lao Bai and the others can take a look at it. Now, after 500 years of changes, zombies have evolved emotions that are indistinguishable from humans. Therefore, for a zombie who has just turned 18, he is suddenly teased by the alluring Sister Hong Yu when he is just starting to fall in love. If you say you're not nervous, that's absolutely bullshit. In the past, Tang Ling had always been well behaved and would never make such over-the-top jokes towards Shen Qing. So, Hong Yu really scared Shen Qing this time. Gudong. Throat crawling. looking at the back of the red moon. Sloppy look, long messy hair. The original crooked Sister Hong, but I don't know why. In Shen Qing's eyes, he looked a little changed. Tall figure, somewhat hot figure. Shen Qing shook his head hurriedly to kill the nonsense thoughts in his head. What's wrong with me? Closing square bracket. Time flies. 3 more days passed without realizing it. In 2 or 3 days, it will be time for Shen Qing and the others to leave for the earthly world. Honestly, the closer the time gets, the more excited Shen Qing becomes. Not only him, but also Bai Wuhua, Gao Xiaoxiao, and Mu Langtu are full of expectations every day. Eastern Excavation Group. After completing today's zombie crystal mission, Bai Wuhua and other zombies sat around the table. Gao Xiaoxiao kept rubbing his hands. Hey, in a few days, we will go to the above world. Old Bai, are you excited? Bai Wuhua looked like a familiar old man and smacked his lips. Prophet, isn't it just the world on earth? What's there to be excited about? Just follow Lao Mu and me and see how calm we are. Mu Langtu rolled his eyes and said, I'm sick. Mind your shaky legs. Gao Xiaoxiao and Shen Qing couldn't help laughing when they heard this. Hongyu was sitting on her desk, holding her chin with one hand, watching Bai Wuhua and other zombies playing around. His eyes were a little complicated. It seems that he is somewhat reluctant to part with such a warm life. After I go to the earthly world, I'm afraid these days will become less and less. Closing square bracket. I hope these guys aren't too surprised. Closing square bracket. However, just when the zombies were enjoying this last warm moment, sudden, a piercing alarm sounded throughout the entire underground city. Followed, warn, closing square bracket. In the dungeon of Area 65, energy fluctuations of the executor were detected, and all zombies evacuated immediately. Closing square bracket. Repeat, closing square bracket. Warn, closing square bracket. In the dungeon of Area 65, energy fluctuations of the executor were detected, and all zombies evacuated immediately. Closing square bracket. Everyone in the Eastern Excavation team was shocked. It was an originally heartwarming scene. It was also completely broken with the piercing siren. The alarm blares, echoed throughout the entire Area 65 underground city. In front of the Eastern Excavation team. Because of the geographical location, Hongyu and other zombies can see the current situation in the dungeon in Area 65. Bai Wuhua's eyes were as wide as a bull's, and he was so wide open that he could squeeze an egg in. I'm such a good boy. 1, 2, 330. I go. At least 30 executors. Did your dungeon in Area 65 fall directly? Hongyu frowned deeply, quite surprised by this scene, but somewhat expected. It seems that it is undoubtedly those guys. Closing square bracket. Unexpectedly, they still haven't given up on Area 65. Closing square bracket. Gao Xiaoxiao stood aside, playing with his twin ponytails excitedly, looking at the dungeon that was about to fall. Her beautiful eyes were sparkling with color. It is clear. She wanted to fight. Gao Xiaoxiao. Sister Hong, do we want to help? Hongyu shook her head. No. Not many zombies in the entire dungeon know our strength. This is the biggest secret. It's only been a few days since we left the dungeon. If it's exposed now, I'm afraid it will cause unnecessary trouble. Gao Xiaoxiao looked disappointed. Oh well. It's like fighting the executors once and trying out the difference between them and zombie beasts. Hongyu, there will be opportunities in the future. After finishing her words, Hongyu waved her hand slightly, indicating that she could go to the office. After all, the location of the 4 excavation groups is the most convenient in the underground city, and the geographical location is also relatively high. In a short period of time, as long as the underground city does not fall completely, it will not endanger their side. Only, Hongyu took just a few steps but stopped again. Only because, no matter it was Shen Qing or Bai Wuhua, the 4 zombies had no intention of going back. His eyes sparkled, and his face looked excited. Hongyu smiled helplessly and shook her head gently. You guys are so impressed. Go to the office and get some protective clothing. If there is anyone close, you can try it. Bai Wuhua. Okay, let's go, my fat body is already hungry and thirsty. Gao Xiaoxiao. Long live Sister Hong. Mu Langtu didn't speak from the beginning to the end. He returned to the office silently and put on the clothes that could cover his face. As for Shen Qing, but he was staring straight at the ladder of life in the distance. Although it was far away, it was impossible to see clearly what was happening on the ladder of life. But somehow, Shen Qing always felt, what danger is about to happen there? At the same time, Area 65 Underground City. The ladder of life. The platform goes down along the ropeway. 5 very young zombies walked out. They were accompanied by a rather majestic middle-aged zombie. Lu Hong, remember this. When you encounter a middle-level or even higher-level executor, run away immediately. Not even from a distance. I shouldn't have brought you down for something like this, but the zombie army is now short of manpower, and your strength has grown by leaps and bounds. It is very necessary to practice in a real battle. The words faltered. Glancing at the excited little zombies, Lu Hong raised his lips slightly. All right, I see you guys can't wait any longer. Go, you must put safety first. If you encounter zombies that you can't handle, send out the flare gun as soon as possible and I will rush there. Lu Hong finished speaking. The 5 zombies rushed towards the city that was constantly being destroyed by the executioners. Among them, there was a zombie whose face showed no excitement from beginning to end, but instead was filled with eagerness. Green, closing square bracket. Don't let anything happen to you. Closing square bracket. No one knows. Why did the underground city in Area 65 suddenly fall? No one knows where these executors come from. The zombie army guarding the top of the ladder of life did not even see half of the executor's hair. The underground city in Area 65 fell like this. Responsible for the defense of the sub-city. Dao Liang stood above the defensive city. All the defensive zombies were dispatched. But he was still as steady as a mountain. He looked at all the executors in the dungeon. The battle experience accumulated over the years told him. This time, the sudden appearance of the executor is probably related to that group of people. 10 junior executors, 15 middle-level performers, 5 high-level executors. That group of people is really generous. I am afraid that even if it is a smaller enforcer camp, it will never be such a big battle. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes, and Dao Liang's feet suddenly exerted force. Just listen. There was a bang. The Dao Liang soared directly into the sky. It was not flying, but Dao Liang used the terrifying reverse thrust to launch himself like a cannonball. As for his direction and goals, amazingly, he is a high-level executor. This side of the Eastern Excavation Group. Shen Qing and the others have already changed their clothes. The brim of the black hat is very long, almost covering their entire face. The black dust mask even covered those faces that were not covered. The top is black and the pants are black. The only thing that stands out is the large pattern on the back of the clothes. It turned out to be a moon. A blood-red moon. Hongyu scratched her hair awkwardly. The clothes left over from that time were designed with my name on them. Isn't it silly? Shen Qing, Bai Wuhua and other zombies looked at each other and shook their heads. He didn't think the clothes were silly, but they were quite in line with Shen Qing's preferences. Hongyu waved her hand. Okay. Don't you just want to fight? Remember, pick a place where there are no zombies. Although my clothes are from many years ago, some zombie soldiers will inevitably recognize them. The words fell. Hongyu sighed again and waved her hand. Never mind. I'll be leaving in 2 days anyway. No matter what, you can do whatever you want, as long as no one knows your identity. Okay, let's go. Rub 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 rub. Shen Qing and others rushed in different directions instantly. Soon, he disappeared from Hongyu's sight. Looking at the impatient backs of the 4 zombies, Hongyu shook her head in amusement. He lit a cigarette and took 2 puffs. Don't tell me, my clothes are just like theirs. After leaving the Eastern Excavation team, Shen Qing immediately locked onto a junior executor. With his current combat power, he is definitely capable of fighting against middle-level executors. Only, everything should be done step by step. Shen Qing plans to try it out with junior executive first, and then try middle level if it feels okay. After all, looking at the current situation, these executors will not be eliminated in a short time. Shen Qing has plenty of time to try. He glanced at the mastiff that was following slowly but steadily behind him. Look at the high-level executors who seem to be fighting in the distance. Shen Qing, if I encounter the same situation as last time again. With a mastiff, I don't know if I can survive. However, just when Shen Qing was thinking about it, Sudden, a figure flashed past the old building not far away. Although he didn't see the other person's appearance clearly, Shen Qing recognized him at a glance. Looking at the direction she is going, Shen Qing's lips curled up. This guy Tang Ling. I'm afraid they went to the family home of Wang's zombie army. Forget it, we can only put the fighting aside for now. Zone 65 Zombie Family Home. Bump. He kicked open the familiar door. Tang Ling. Qing. However, the room was empty. Apart from some basic furniture, there are no zombies to be seen. Obviously, Shen Qing is not here. Tang Ling was surprised, and then suddenly realized, did you go to seek refuge? It seems I was a little too worried. Say something to yourself. Tang Ling's tense heart gradually dropped. Sighed. I planned to come back this time to catch up with Shen Qing. The excitement turned into a little disappointed at this time. With a shrug of his shoulders, Tang Ling's feet suddenly increased in speed. Light blue energy wraps around the long white legs. The figure turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the nearest executor at high speed. At this time, Shen Qing was not in a hurry. When he first arrived at the zombie army's family home, he had already noticed Tang Ling leaving. A smile on his lips. This girl is still looking like a fiery person. Shen Qing himself didn't even notice that in recent days, he was smiling more than usual. Perhaps, it's all because of the influence of Hongyu's group of guys. Turn around. He walked slowly towards the direction Tang Ling left just now. His feet were still that unhurried. Shen Qing is quite curious about Tang Ling today. What is the current strength of the apex-level bloodline zombie who was specially trained by the zombie army? The underground city in Area 65 was attacked. The underground city that used to be very quiet is now full of chaos. Many zombies who have inherited the primary bloodline are like harvested leeks when facing the executioner. The top of the clock tower in the core city area. Two dark figures stood on top of it. One tall and one short. One male and one female. Shadow, do you think Area 65 can be defended this time? The female zombie's voice was sweet, and her words had a silver bell-like flavor. The male zombie known as Shadow shook his head. Not sure. I don't think these zombies can trouble them. The female zombie chuckled and said, hee hee. Tell me, what would their expressions be if they saw that big guy? I think it will be exciting, right? The Shadow turned around and walked towards the bell tower. He waved to the female zombie behind him and said, let's go. Go to the ladder of life and put things out. Don't forget our mission. The two zombies leave. I would never dream of seeing all the zombies in the entire Area 65 dungeon. Soon, their nightmare will come true. East Street. This is the area where the outer city of District 65 is close to the core urban area. The prosperity is not as prosperous as the core urban area. Because of its geographical location, it was quite lively in the past. But now, there were screams. Boom! A huge explosion shot into the sky. Facing this group of powerless grassroots zombies, a junior executor is just cutting leaks. The scarlet eyes prove that it has entered the strangulation mode against zombies. The red light dot above the head is the most terrifying weapon for junior executors. Tang Ling, who was standing not far away, watched the tragic scene. The red dot above the performer's head adds extra danger. Tang Ling, is that the core weapon of the executor? The destructive power is truly amazing. However, as long as you are careful, it shouldn't be a big problem. The words fell. Tang Ling exerted force on his feet and rushed towards the junior executor at an extremely fast speed. On the body, colorful energy light patterns emerge, strengthening the whole body and increasing the bones. Strength amplification, enhancing the entire body and increasing speed. Strengthening the entire body and increasing self-healing. It is worthy of being an apex-level bloodline zombie with full body enhancement. Now Tang Ling's bloodline awakening value has reached 15%, under the various increases of the whole body strengthening. Facing junior executors is no problem. After several sprints, she had reached the side of the junior executor. The clenched fist was thrown out without hesitation. Boom! Under the terrifying destructive power, the junior executor was directly blown away by this punch. It even rolled to one side for 6 or 7 times before stopping. Kaka! Kaka! The mechanical body stood up slightly stiffly, and its scarlet eyes locked onto the target. Tang Ling was a little surprised and said, "It is indeed different from the zombie beast. The enforcer is too resistant to beatings." With a beautiful smile on his lips, Tang Ling said again, "But I can still blast it." Base. The speed increased and he rushed towards the junior executor again. 2 defensive zombies had just arrived from a distance. Seeing Tang Ling's hand-to-hand fighting style, the 2 zombies all swallowed their saliva. "That kid looks like he's only 18, right? That's a bit too fierce." "You're kidding, you don't know who she is." Tang Ling, the young genius with the highest talent in the zombie army on the ground. Apex level bloodline plus body enhancement, so scary. Okay. Good boy, I remember that those freshmen have only been on the ground for less than a month, right? Can they challenge the junior executors alone? Are you ignorant? I heard from the brothers above that Tang Ling already has 15% of the bloodline awakening value, and his combat power is even more powerful than the ordinary high-level bloodline zombies with 40% of the awakening value. As expected of Apex level bloodline and body enhancement, it's really awesome. Okay, stop looking, there's no problem with her here, go deal with other places quickly." The 2 defensive zombies just left. After all, Tang Ling's name was well known in their circle. They knew that even a junior executor could not defeat this girl. On the contrary, it can increase Tang Ling's awakening value a lot. At this time, Shen Qing, who was standing in the distance, also silently watched Tang Ling's heroic appearance. His eyes smiled like crescent moons. This girl has indeed become much stronger. It seems there is no need for me to worry. Let's go find a junior executor and give it a try. After muttering to himself, Shen Qing began to choose his target. Now, the defensive zombies stationed in the dungeon have reacted. More than 30 executors were fought in batches. After scanning around, Shen Qing found that there was no one left alone. A black line suddenly appeared on his face. Only because he saw that Bai Wuhua, Yao Xiaoxiao and the others had already found the executors. The battle is going on right now. There are really more wolves than meat. Closing square bracket. Go and support Lao Mu. Closing square bracket. Bai Wuhua and Gao Xiaoxiao were dealing with junior executors. And Lao Mu may have been unlucky, playing against a middle-level executor. The overall strength of the middle-level executors is comparable to the zombie beast king. Lao Mu was more interested in investigation, so it was obviously difficult to deal with it. Before leaving, Shen Qing glanced in the direction of Tang Ling again. At this time, Tang Ling was punching the junior executor one after another. It looked like it was almost over. This girl has indeed grown up a lot. Closing square bracket. After thinking in his mind, Shen Qing rushed towards Mu Haodo. It's not that Shen Qing doesn't want to see Tang Ling. But he felt there was no need to be so anxious. The underground city in Area 65 is still in a state of occupation, and no one can be sure whether the number of these suddenly appearing enforcers will increase again. Lao Mu was also having a hard time coping. It's not too late to see Tang Ling again after it's over. That was at the same time Shen Qing left. Tang Ling suddenly glanced behind him. He frowned slightly and smoothed his hair again. Said to himself, "Strange. That zombie looks like Shen Qing." After saying this, she chuckled again. "What am I thinking about? How could Qing come to such a dangerous place? It seems that I thought about Qing too seriously." While talking, a layer of pink appeared on Tang Ling's gray cheeks. The tough zombie who was beating up the junior executor a second ago. This moment, she is like a shy girl next door, covering her beautiful eyes and looking pretty. Ouch, what the hell am I thinking? I'm so embarrassed about the zombies. Ha, ha, when the iron hammer struck in the dim light. While successfully hitting the middle-level executor, there was also a harsh metal collision. Lao Mu, it's really troublesome. Executors and zombie beasts are completely different things. The defense is too strong. Mu Lengtu himself also planned to find a junior executor to try his hand. After all, for the executors, their entire Eastern excavation team, except Hong Yu, has no experience with other zombies. To be on the safe side, picking junior executors as the most appropriate target. Even Mu Lengtu himself didn't expect that his luck would be so bad. The junior executor was not found, but was attacked by a middle-level executor. Is it as strong as the zombie beast king? After this period of time, Mu Bangtu's strength was at most capable of entangling the zombie beast king. It's not impossible for him to challenge one person, but it will take much more time and effort. But that's just the zombie beast king. Now we are facing the middle-level executor. This thing is made of special metal, and its defense level is much higher than that of the zombie beast king. Mu Bangtu, who was not good at attacking, was unexpectedly at a disadvantage. After being entangled, it is difficult to escape. Abnormal rage 58% increase. Extreme body strengthening strength amplification. Boom. Sudden. A figure flashed out and directly bombarded the head of the middle-level executor without any pause. The hard mechanical head was blasted out of a crater. The huge body tilted and fell due to this blow. Mu Bangtu saw the person coming clearly, and couldn't help but show a hint of bitterness at the corner of his mouth. You are so scary. Shen Qing smiled faintly. Let's deal with this executor first. It takes too long. I'm afraid someone will discover this place. Mu Bang nodded. The two zombies fought hand in hand. This is the first time Shen Qing faces the executor. It was also the first time he felt how tricky the executor was. It's still the same characteristic. Defense. The defense is ridiculously high. The blow that Shen Xiao just made could hurt the opponent even if he faced the alien zombie beast king. But for this middle-level executor, whose strength is comparable to that of the zombie beast king, it just blasts a hole in the opponent's head. It can't even break the hard metal. Shen Qing. So hard. At the same time, the middle-level executor quickly stood up and stared at Shen Qing with his mechanized scarlet eyes. Obviously, they will automatically locate priority targets for attack based on the danger index. After all, artificial intelligence has been developed for 500 years. These technologies are just the lowest level. The core weapon above the head of the middle-level executor suddenly flashed red. Before Shen Qing could react, red light was already shooting towards him. The speed was so fast that the zombies were stunned. Lao Mu. Shen, please be careful. Shen Qing's legs instantly spread a layer of blue energy. Extreme body strengthening and speed increase. Aha! Just when the attack of the core weapon was about to hit the target, Shen Qing's figure disappeared directly, even leaving a dazed afterimage in place. This speed was so fast that even Mu Bang couldn't catch it. If it weren't for the abnormal calmness and precise capture, Mu Bangtu would be too exhausted to keep up with Shen Qing's speed. See it. Lao Mu couldn't help but secretly thought. Is Shen Qing's speed faster than before? Closing square bracket. It seems that in addition to abnormal rage, he must have other amplified bloodline characteristics. Closing square bracket. I just don't know what it is. Looking at the energy rays on his legs, could it be an increase in the legs? Closing square bracket. Shen Qing has not told any zombies about extreme body enhancement. Even Hongyu could only guess that Shen Qing had body enhancement. Therefore, the three zombies, Lao Mu, Lao Bai, and Gao Xiaoxiao, naturally had no idea. Miso miso miso. After a few steps, Shen Qing appeared again on the side of the middle-level executor. My feet suddenly became weak. With the help of the recoil, it flew into the air and blasted towards the core weapon of the middle-level executor. Boom boom boom. 3 punches in a row. Crack. This was followed by a crisp sound. For the executor, the most core and most destructive core weapon was actually broken by Shen Qing's hammer. Shen Qing looked back. Old Mu, give it 2 more hits with its core weapon. Lao Mu nodded without any hesitation, holding 2 iron hammers in both hands. Think of the hammer as a full moon, and when the traction force reaches the maximum within the controllable range, throw it directly in the direction of the core weapon of the middle-level executor. So fast, it can almost catch up with the light released by the executor's core weapon just now. Boom, click, one is dull and the other is crispy. 2 voices echoed, and Shen Qing also noticed clearly. The core weapon, which was originally glowing with scarlet light, completely turned gray at this moment. It was obvious that the core weapon had been destroyed by these 2 hammers. Without the core weapon, the middle-level executor is like a tiger with its teeth pulled out. No matter how strong it is, it cannot make any trouble. Shen Qing went to one side again, punching one after another. Boom boom boom. Every time a punch is punched, the body of the executor will tilt 1 point. After waiting for the middle-level executor to be bombarded to the ground, Shen Qing still did not stop attacking. Instead, his fists continued to fall like heavy rain. 5 minutes at most, with the combined efforts of Mu Lengtu and Shen Qing. The red eyes of the middle-level executor just lost their light little by little. Lao Mu. Huh. He breathed a sigh of relief and calmed down. Mu Bengtu wiped the sweat from his forehead and said, "Thank you for coming in time. Otherwise, let me deal with this middle-level executor by myself. I'm afraid I might die in its hands if I'm not careful." Shen Qing walked to Lao Mu and couldn't help but glance at the destroyed middle-level executor. Strong. I can't imagine that the enemies that the zombie army on the ground faces every day are so powerful. Mu Bengtu. Yes, however, when we go to the above world, I'm afraid we will also have to face such enemies. The overall strength and troublesomeness of the executor far exceed that of zombie beasts of the same level. Shen Qing nodded slightly. Then he looked around and sighed. Looks like this is the end of us. The junior executors and middle-level executors have all been dealt with by the zombies stationed in the defense. Come on, let's go back. Lao Mu nodded. However, just as Shen Qing finished speaking, far away, in the direction of the ladder of life, a terrifying explosion appeared without any warning. The aftermath of the rolling heat wave even swept through half of the underground city. The extremely hard ladder of life cableway was crumbling due to the aftermath of the explosion. At the same time, executing an order. Absolute strangulation. Target. All zombies. The sound was not loud, but its penetrating power was very strong. From such a distance, Shen Xiao could even hear the mechanized sound. Shen Qing, can you talk? Mu Lengtu frowned deeply. I'm afraid. That's no longer the executor. Shen Qing was shocked. Could it be that there are fissioners in the underground city? Mu Bengtu. It's very possible. Let's go. The dungeon may be in danger, so go back quickly. But before Shen Qing and Mu Lengtu had time to leave, in the core city of District 65, dense explosions were heard again. Immediately afterwards, nearly 40 executors appeared out of thin air. Shen Qing and Mu Bengtu were stunned. The shock in my heart could not subside for a long time. The two zombies said in unison. So many executors suddenly appeared at the same time. How can this be? Chapter 41. Eastern Excavation Group. The red moon stood quietly on the mound. The beautiful eyes have already been narrowed, and the beautiful eyebrows are deeply frowned. The direction of sight is exactly the core urban area. Another 40 executors. There are fissioners near the ladder of life. After finishing her words, Hongyu showed a hint of bitterness at the corner of her mouth, as if sighing, okay. These lunatics are really generous. Are they determined not to give up until Area 65 is completely overrun? The originally sloppy hair was held down by a black hat, and the hanging strands of hair fluttered in the wind. The long brim of the hat obscures the red moon's face. The black dust mask made it impossible for anyone familiar with zombies to recognize her identity. On the back of the black top, the blood red moon looks extra anomaly. Abnormal rage 103% increase. Activate the largest increase in abnormal rage within the range of sanity. Base. Hongyu's figure flashed and disappeared on the mound of the Eastern Excavation Group. 1 minute at most. Before Shen Qing and Mu Lengtu could retreat, they heard Hongyu's voice coming from not far away. The zombie army may be overwhelmed. If possible, meet the ordering executor to help handle it. Shen Qing looked at the sound and saw that the red moon had already disappeared. Even without seeing the figure, Shen Qing knew who the speaker was. He looked at Mu Bengtu. Both zombies showed a wry smile and shrugged. Shen Qing, be careful. If you encounter a middle-level executor, you should retreat as much as possible. Lao Mu nodded. You should also be careful. Subsequently, the two zombies rushed toward the core city area at the same time. Tang Ling sighed. Just after taking care of the junior executor, she also discovered that the executor had been almost completely taken care of by the zombie army and the defensive zombies. So, Tang Ling planned to go back to the ladder of life to meet Lu Hongxian. However, boom, a scarlet light struck without warning. Tang Ling was not given any chance to react. The next second, the terrifying explosion swept across, and Tang Ling's body was buried in it. But it's not over yet. The executor seems to be able to tell whether zombies are still alive during an explosion. Scarlet eyes were locked on Tang Ling in the flames. The special weapons on both sides of the huge body gather blue energy light waves. Next moment, the light wave was released, and an energy impact shot straight towards the center of the explosion. Although the speed is not as fast as the core weapon, the destructive power contained in it far exceeds that of the core weapon. Extreme self-healing breakthrough recovery. Just as the energy light wave was emitted, a figure suddenly rushed out. He actually stood directly in front of that terrifying light wave. Boom! The light wave hit, and the destructive power was astonishing, causing the surrounding buildings to instantly collapse. Half of the body of the zombie that was hit seemed to evaporate. Sister Tang Ling, are you okay? Wu Meng shouted towards the back, and his vaporized body began to heal itself with a burst of energy at an extremely frightening speed. Base. Another figure appeared. A male zombie wearing white clothes and looking like Immortal Chi was guarding Tang Ling. Linger, are you okay? As he spoke, a layer of gray appeared on the male zombie's body, and his eyes gradually turned scarlet. Ultimate violence breakthrough amplification. Tang Ling stood up, and her right arm had disappeared. However, the speed at which zombies talk to themselves cannot be limited. What's more, overall body strengthening itself can increase the speed of self-healing. With such an injury, the arm can be regenerated within 10 minutes. Only, in the current situation, how can we get these 10 minutes? Tang Ling, high-level executor. Mo Yu, the zombie in white, had an equally ugly face and sighed. The situation we least want to face has happened. Linger, Wu Meng and I will attract its attention in a while, and you can take the opportunity to escape. Don't worry, I've already sent the signal, and Instructor Liu will be here soon to support you. Hearing this, Tang Ling shook his head and said, I'm afraid it's impossible. The expressions of the two zombies, Mo Yu and Wu Meng, darkened. Of course they know it too. After all, there was a violent explosion in the direction of the ladder of life, and a mechanical voice capable of speaking was heard. It is clear, a Fissioner more powerful than the executor appeared on the ladder of life. Waiting for Lu Hong's support. I am afraid that Lu Hong may not even be able to save his own life now. That's a Fissioner. One Fissioner is enough to destroy an entire underground city. Mo Yu looked back, looked at Tang Ling tenderly and said, Linger, it's okay. Let's go. Believe me and Wu Meng, we will be able to follow you alive. Tang Ling's expression moved slightly. Ever since she went to the earthly world, she has been pursued by the white-clothed zombie in front of her. Moreover, he pursues her crazily and is completely clingy. But now, the other party is willing to sacrifice his life in order to help him get a chance to escape. It was a lie if Tang Ling said he wasn't grateful. Wu Meng, haha, Sister Tang Ling, don't worry. Instructor Liu said before that brother you and I will definitely not die even if we face high-level executors. You hurry up and leave, we will be there soon. Tang Ling frowned and said firmly, I won't leave. I think we could give it a try. While talking, colorful energy ripples appeared on Tang Ling's body, strengthening the whole body and increasing the bones, enhancing the entire body and increasing defense. Strength amplification, strengthening the entire body and increasing self-healing. All increases will be unlocked in one go. Tang Ling said again, find the right moment. As long as we can knock it down, we will still have a chance to escape. Actually, Tang Ling had thought that the three zombies would turn around and run away. But this method is simply not feasible because the high-level executors' attacks are too fast, especially the core weapons. It was almost instantaneous, and even the defensive high-level bloodline zombies whose bloodline awakening value reached over 60% did not dare to resist. Turn your back to the high-level performer. In the battle of the zombie army, it is the biggest taboo. Because Lu Hong said this back then. For example, when a high-level executor is fighting, if he escapes without restraint, turning his back on a high-level executor who has locked himself is equivalent to death. Tang Ling clenched his fist. Go. The three figures rushed forward without hesitation. The scarlet light released by the core weapon swept across. A searing explosion suddenly struck behind the three zombies. Tang Ling was the fastest and was already close to the high-level executor in a few breaths. On the clenched fist, 3 types of increases were even activated. Boom, punch out. Mo Yu followed closely behind. Under extreme violence, the destructive power cannot be ignored. What's more, his bloodline awakening value is 1% higher than Tang Ling's. Boom, 2 punches landed. Tang Ling and Mo Yu quickly moved away at the same time. The expressions of the two zombies were extremely weird. Only because the punch just now felt as if it didn't hit the physical body at all. Look away. The two zombies were shocked. I saw. The body of the high-level executor is surrounded by a light white fluorescent mask. The two zombies attacked with all their might, but they couldn't even break through each other's defense shield. Wu Meng, who was the slowest, was dumbfounded when he arrived. All go. How to fight here? We can't even break its eggshell. Eggshell. It refers to the executor's defensive shield. The biggest difference between the executor and the zombie beast is the defensive shield. However, this kind of ultra-high defense is only available to high-level executors. If you want to break it open, it is absolutely impossible if you don't have a high-level bloodline zombie with an awakening value of more than 60%. Tang Ling and the others originally planned to give it a try. Even if they can't break through the defense, if they can be repelled or even knocked down, they can still give the three zombies a chance to escape. Unfortunately, they overestimated their own strength, and also underestimated the degree of the high-level executor's defensive shield. A wry smile appeared on Tang Ling's lips. Ching. It seems I can't see you anymore. Mo Yu's face was filled with emotion. Linger, let's go. Wu Meng and I can help you withstand a core weapon attack. It's better to leave one alive than all three of them to die. Wu Meng was also a little anxious. Yes, Sister Tang Ling, you have unlimited potential, nothing can happen to you. You will become the leader of the entire zombie army in the future. It is not worth losing your life here. Both zombies were trying to persuade Tang Ling. Tang Ling's eyes were complicated. Say you don't want to leave. That is of course false. Especially since Shen Qing was still waiting for her, Tang Ling didn't want to lose her life here. Use the lives of your companions to give yourself a chance to escape. Tang Ling couldn't do it. Green. It seems that I can't accompany you to the earthly world. Closing square bracket. I hope you can forgive me for breaking my promise. Closing square bracket. With certainty in his heart, Tang Ling's eyes no longer wandered. Mo Yu, Wu Meng. It's not like we have no chance at all. Do you still remember the method that Instructor Lu taught me? As soon as these words came out, Mo Yu and Wu Meng looked at each other, with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Tang Ling nodded. Try it. This is our only chance to survive. As soon as he finished speaking, all the amplified energy in Tang Ling's body dissipated. And Mo Yu's extreme rage was also turned off by him. At the same time, layers of colorful energy fluorescence appeared on Mo Yu's body. Soon, those lights spread all over his body. This moment, Mo Yu only felt that his body seemed to be filled with inexhaustible power. Ultimate violence breakthrough amplification. Mo Yu. Wu Meng, help me. Wu Meng. Okay, don't worry. I'll take all the attacks. Even if you lose your life, I'll help you get a chance. Tang Ling was so weak that he could not even support his body. Her delicate body softened and she collapsed on the ground, gasping for air. But his eyes never left Mo Yu from beginning to end. Tang Ling's face turned pale. Instructor Lu helped me develop a new way to strengthen the whole body. Although it can be grafted onto other zombies, the increase intensity is far less than 50% of its own. Coupled with Mo Yu's extreme rage, I hope it can give us a glimmer of hope. Drink. Mo Yu was extremely fast, and within 2 breaths at most, he had already appeared above the head of the high-level executor. The fist, which was equipped with 3 types of body-strengthening amplifications, hit the head of the high-level executor without hesitation. Scarlet rays of light gathered together and shot straight towards Mo Yu at the same time. But Mo Yu didn't dodge, he only had eyes for the high-level executor. Wu Meng suddenly jumped up, and his entire body lay directly on the core weapon. Scarlet rays shot out. There was no explosion, but a large hole was shot through Wu Meng's already broken body. Boom. Mo Yu's attack also fell at this moment. This blow actually set off a violent shock wave. Kaka. The high-level executor's huge body tilted under this terrifying punch and fell heavily to the ground. Mo Yu didn't dare to delay at all. Under the simultaneous blessing of overall body strengthening and extreme violence, he quickly lifted Wu Meng up, and at the same time, his feet burst out with astonishing speed, and he rushed towards Tang Ling. Run. Passing by Tang Ling, he held him on the other's shoulder. Mo Yu carried 2 zombies and ran away into the distance without looking back. Wu Meng, who was being held on his shoulders, chuckled. The very serious injuries looked particularly horrifying. If it weren't for zombies, 100 lives might not be enough to kill him. Wu Meng, hey, the 3 of us were able to escape alive from the high-level enforcer. I'll have to brag about it when we get back. Tang Ling, Wu Meng, can the self-healing speed of the injury keep up? Wu Meng smiled. Don't worry, I've avoided fatal injuries. I'll definitely be able to thrive in a week. Mo Yu, who was carrying the 2 zombies, was not slowing down but increasing in speed, but he was breathing a sigh of relief. This time, we are really surprised. Boom. The words are not finished yet. The huge fire engulfed them directly. The high-level executor who had been knocked down had already stood up. Scarlet eyes stared intently at the zombies who were ordered to strangulate. After the fire, Tang Ling and the others looked at the scene in front of them in despair. Mo Yu's legs were destroyed in the explosion just now. The 3 zombies were completely in dire straits. Wu Meng smiled bitterly. It seems that God doesn't want me to show off anymore. Mo Yu, oh, Linger, why are you so stubborn? How could you just run away just now? Tang Ling breathed a sigh of relief. All the tension and sense of crisis were gone at this moment, and he looked resigned to his fate. The underground city in Area 65 has fallen, and the Fissioners have also appeared. Even if I survive the hands of high-level enforcers, can I still leave Area 65 alive? The 3 zombies looked at each other with bitterness on their faces. Yes, District 65 has fallen. The Fissioners also appeared. I'm afraid even Lu Hong is destined to die in the dungeon of Area 65. The blue energy light waves gathered again. The high-level executor obviously looked like he was going to strangulate these 3 zombies. At the critical moment of death, Mo Yu looked at Tang Ling affectionately. Linger. Before you die, can you agree to my pursuit? This is my only regret. There was a hint of embarrassment in Tang Ling's brows, but he finally shook his head. I'm sorry. I already have my heart set on belonging. Mo Yu's face was full of disappointment. Oh, okay. Boom. Energy light waves shot out, heading straight towards Tang Ling and the 3 of them. Looking at the energy light waves that were constantly amplifying in front of his eyes, Tang Ling also closed his eyes with regret. Green. Closing square bracket. If human records are true, and if there is an afterlife, I will still stick to you, protect you, and accompany you. Closing square bracket. Bye now. Closing square bracket. Green. Closing square bracket. Boom. Roar. The ear-piercing beast roar resounded throughout Area 65. Mastiff. Roar. The energy light wave that was supposed to obliterate Tang Ling and the 3 of them did not arrive as expected. On the contrary, it was the silence of the anomaly that made the 3 zombies subconsciously open their eyes. But the next moment, pupil dilation, eyes as wide as bells. Mo Yu was shocked. This. Tang Ling covered his mouth. Zombie Beast King. Wu Meng. Holy shit. Look, there seems to be a zombie standing on the back of Beast King. 3 lines of sight converged. On the back of a nearly 10-meter mastiff, a figure wearing a black hat stood quietly on it. He was wearing a black combat uniform. Tang Ling could tell that the combat uniforms were somewhat different from those worn by the zombie army on the ground today. Especially the one behind the top. Blood Red Moon. Wu Meng's jaw dropped. My dear mother. Is there any mistake? There is a zombie standing behind the zombie Beast King. My 3 views have been completely refreshed. Mo Yu breathed a sigh of relief and said calmly, the energy light wave just now should have been blocked by the zombie Beast King. It seems that the other party is not an enemy. However, Tang Ling never spoke, her beautiful eyes staring at the zombie behind Beast King without blinking. Moment. She looked confused and thought to herself. Why does that zombie feel so familiar to me? Closing square bracket. Like Cheng. Closing square bracket. Shaked his head twice. Maybe it's because of the aftermath. Tang Ling was actually amused by his idea. How could he be Cheng? Closing square bracket. It seems that in the face of death, I miss Cheng so much that my head is a little funny. Closing square bracket. Putting aside the ridiculous speculation in his mind, Tang Ling gradually calmed down. Judging from the costume of the zombie, even if the other party is not the zombie army in Area 65 that she is familiar with, it must be a zombie army from somewhere else. Since it was the support of the zombie army, their lives could be considered saved. Only, Tang Ling frowned slightly. Why can a zombie command the zombie beast king? Also, is the zombie beast king really a match for the high-level executor? Wu Meng used his remaining arm to support his body and said with admiration in his eyes, whatever. Anyway, in my eyes, standing on the back of the zombie beast king is simply transcendent level awesome. Mo Yu, Linger, help me add a self-healing boost. Tang Ling did not hesitate and once again released the body-strengthening power that could be grafted onto other zombies. Even if the self-healing increase is weakened to less than 50%, it is still enough to stabilize Mo Yu's injuries. At this time, Wu Meng suddenly shouted, "Look, the war has begun." The three zombies all set their sights on the zombie beast king not far away at the same time. Mastiff is the mutant zombie beast king. The overall strength is comparable to high-level performers. But if that's the case, the Mastiff is no match for high-level enforcers. Simply because high-level executors are killing machines created to target zombies. Its super high defense and the protection of eggshells are completely superior to zombie beasts. Pity, Mastiff is no ordinary mutant zombie beast king. Roar, a beast roared. On the Mastiff's body, colorful lights bloomed. At the same time, gray emerged, and the beast's eyes glowed with scarlet light. All the increases in extreme body enhancement are enabled, plus the violent skills possessed by the Mastiff itself. All of a sudden, a terrifying sense of oppression swept over him. The oppressive feeling even spread to half of the Area 65 dungeon, so that many zombies who were still fighting against the executor couldn't help but tremble slightly. Bai Wuhua, who had arrived at the core city area, sat the junior executor into a discus with a big butt, and looked into the distance with complicated eyes. I go, even though I felt it once before, but now I feel it again, the pressure of Shu Go is still fierce. It seems that Xiao Qingzi has met a high-level executor. Gao Xiaoxiao sighed. The twin ponytails transformed into a sharp weasel, which cut off the middle-level executor's waist and cut off his head directly. When the battle ended, she couldn't help but look into the distance. Shen Qing, you have to be careful. As for Mu Bangtu, he felt the oppression of the Mastiff, but did not look away at all. Just because he was attacked by a middle-level enforcer again. Is my luck so bad? Look at Tang Ling again. At this time, the three zombies were all dumbfounded, their eyes widened and their mouths formed a big round shape. The three pairs of eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. Wu Meng, Sister Tang Ling, look at the light on the zombie beast king, is that? Tang Ling's delicate body couldn't help but shudder. He nodded heavily, and although he didn't want to admit it, he still replied, yes. Strengthen the whole body. That zombie beast king uses blood characteristics that only zombies have. Wu Meng's expression was exaggerated at transcendent level. Oh my god. What the hell is going on in this world? The zombie beast king can actually use blood characteristics. Are you slapped in the face after 9 years of compulsory education? Mo Yu bit his lip, frowned deeply, and stared at the figure behind the zombie beast king. The zombie hasn't taken action yet. Closing square bracket. Being able to tame such a powerful zombie beast king, does it mean that his strength far exceeds that of the other party? Closing square bracket. When did such powerful zombies appear in the zombie army? Closing square bracket. The black figure disappeared in a flash. Wenwen stood in front of Tang Ling. I saw him stretching out a hand, his blue-gray skin spotless. Are you okay? 3 simple words, but it was like a lightning strike, accurately hitting the hearts of Tang Ling and the other 3 zombies. Wu Meng exclaimed, what a young voice. Mo Yu frowned deeper. Is this zombie about the same age as us? Closing square bracket. How can this be? Closing square bracket. As for Tang Ling, he stared blankly at the zombies in front of him. The black brim of the hat covered the other person's eyes in darkness. The black dust mask hid all his features. But even so, just 3 words made Tang Ling recognize him. The delicate body is trembling and the eyes are like copper bells. Tang Ling took a breath and asked tentatively, Qing. Shen Qing nodded. It's me. Then, regardless of Tang Ling's dazed expression, he picked him up directly. That look and momentum were simply domineering. Ignoring the fighting on the Mastiff side, Shen Qing looked at Wu Meng again and said, how are you doing? Can you hold on? Wu Meng was flattered. Did the boss talk to me? As he said that, He even shook Mo Yu's arm vigorously and cheered, "Hey, hey, hey. Mo Yu, did you hear that the boss talked to me?" Mo Yu's face was dark from beginning to end, especially when he saw Shen Qing picking up Tang Ling. That face was as black as a piece of coal. Mo Yu struggled in his heart for a long time, and finally gritted his teeth and mustered up the courage, "Let her go. Shen Qing, get out." This moment, colorful lights appeared on Shen Xiao's body. In his eyes, a crimson light representing the violence emerged. At the same time, the oppressive feeling that only belonged to apex-level bloodline zombies almost made Mo Yu suffocate. Just a breath of air almost made Mo Yu faint. Mo Yu was shocked. Powerful, too strong, closing square bracket. This guy's strength can at least compete with Instructor Liu. Closing square bracket. Who is he? Closing square bracket. After a moment of shock, Mo Yu suddenly recalled what Tang Ling had called the zombie just now. My heart was filled with turmoil again. Green, closing square bracket. Is he that low-level bloodline zombie with no characteristics, trash Shen Qing? Closing square bracket. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Closing square bracket. How could a junior bloodline zombie be so powerful that I dare not look directly at it? Closing square bracket. He is definitely not Shen Qing. Absolutely not. Closing square bracket. He didn't give Mo Yu any face at all. After all, Shen Qing heard everything Mo Yu confessed to Tang Ling just now. How could Shen Qing give him face for such a zombie? Holding Tang Ling, seeing her lying in his arms, Shen Qing's face under the mask was full of tenderness. Tang Ling hugged Shen Qing's neck, smelled the familiar smell and whispered, "Qing. What happened to you? Why are you so powerful now? Also, did you use full body strengthening just now? And your aura, it's obviously the apex level bloodline. And more, I still have many more questions to ask you." Tang Ling suddenly fell silent. Then, Shen Qing only heard in her ears, "Green, I miss you so much." Shen Qing smiled, his voice extremely gentle and doting, "I miss you too." Two little zombie lovers are fighting each other. Mastiffs are awesome fighters, and she is still playing with high-level performers stabilizing the pressure. Shen Qing was not worried at all. After all, joke. The alien zombie beast king activates the ultimate body strengthening, and then adds rage. Even if there are two high-level executors in front of them, they are probably no match for the Mastiff. After holding Tang Ling and placing him in a safer position, Shen Qing turned around and looked at the Mastiff. The battle over there is also coming to an end. The energy cannons on both sides of the high-level executor's waist were ripped off alive by the Mastiff dogs. The core weapon above his head was smashed to pieces by the Mastiff's paw. As for eggshells, in vain. Wu Meng's face was still full of excitement. If it weren't for his body being destroyed, he would have gotten up and danced long ago. Even so, Wu Meng still shook Mo Yu's arm and said excitedly, "Mo Yu, look. The high-level executor is just a toy in the hands of that zombie beast king. My dear mother, that zombie beast king is too strong, isn't it? It's so strong that it's off the charts." Mo Yu. Without saying a word, his gray eyes stared at Shen Qing and Tang Ling in the distance. It didn't take long. Mo Yu gritted his teeth and whispered almost sinisterly, "Shen Qing." Shen Qing sighed. Tang Ling's injury was not serious, and he recovered quickly due to the increase in self-healing. Looking at Shen Qing's back, Tang Ling smiled playfully and said, "Qing, tell me, what's going on with you? I remember that you are obviously a primary bloodline zombie, and you have no characteristics. But why was the aura you showed just now similar to my apex-level bloodline?" Tang Ling's voice didn't stop, but her delicate body was surrounding Shen Qing, and she continued with a serious steady look on her face. "Also, the light on your body just now should be the whole body strengthening, right? What is going on? A primary bloodline zombie with no characteristics suddenly turns into an apex-level bloodline zombie, and it also has the bloodline characteristics of strengthening the entire body." Tang Ling had a lot to say to Shen Qing. Many questions were in her heart. But Shen Qing reached out and rubbed her head. That gentle look was completely different from the inarticulate Qing back then. "It's hard to describe in words. However, I do have apex-level bloodline, but it cannot be detected by zombies. I do have body-wide enhancement, and similarly, it cannot be detected." Linger, have you ever heard of dual bloodlines and dual characteristics? As soon as these words came out, Tang Ling seemed to have recalled something, and immediately his head was filled with confusion, and he said as if he had suddenly realized something, "Oh, I know. Instructor Liu told us once that there were people with dual bloodlines and dual characteristics in Area 65. Tang Ling's beautiful eyes sparkled, and she grabbed Shen Qing's big hand with some excitement. Qing, you mean you have dual bloodlines and dual characteristics? Your second bloodline and second characteristic or apex level bloodline and body enhancement? The more Tang Ling talked, the more excited he became, and there were almost tears in his eyes. Green, great. I'll tell Instructor Liu the news so you can go to the earthly world. Furthermore, with your current strength, you might have more resources than me in the zombie army. Sudden, Shen Qing sighed. He turned around and looked at the excited Tang Ling in front of him. Shen Qing, in a few days, I may have to leave. Tang Ling's expression was frozen, and she looked at Shen Qing blankly, unable to recover for a while. It seems that he doesn't want to believe what he hears. Shen Qing continued, I hope you won't talk to Instructor Liu about my matters. If I have more time in the future, I will go meet the zombie army to see you. Unconscious, 2 lines of clear tears already flowed from the corners of Tang Ling's eyes. During these 20 days on the ground, Tang Ling misses Shen Qing every moment. She is still Shen Qing when she dreams, and she is still Shen Qing when she wakes up. Today, I finally met him and even learned that Shen Qing has the same extremely strong bloodline and characteristics as myself. But Shen Qing told her, is he leaving? Tang Ling felt a little panicked. She always felt that Shen Qing's departure might be forever. Just like Shen Qing's parents, they will never come back. Tang Ling grabbed Shen Qing's big hand anxiously and said, Qing, where are you going? With whom? Can I come along? Shen Qing, Linger, be obedient. The zombie army is more suitable for you. Don't worry, I'll be back when I'm done. If you want, this time, it's my turn to pick you up. Look at the mastiff that has completely torn the high-level enforcer apart. He looked at the now familiar yet unfamiliar Shen Qing again. Tang Ling was in a daze. All this seems like a very unreal dream. There was a moment of silence. Tang Ling finally spoke belatedly, but the initial panic was obviously gone from his voice. Green, how long are you going? Shen Qing, it's not clear yet. Tang Ling, do I have to go? Shen Qing, yeah. Listening to Shen Qing's decisive answer, Tang Ling's heart tightened and she asked again, will you come back? Shen Qing hesitated. After thinking for a while, I still didn't come up with an answer. Because he doesn't know either. Hongyu did not say whether they would return to Area 65 after leaving. Shen Qing, I can't guarantee it, but if you are willing, I will come back to pick you up. After hearing this answer, Tang Ling's hanging heart gradually dropped. Although he was still reluctant to give up, he still nodded obediently. Good, then I wait for you. Knowing that they would be separated again soon, Tang Ling and Shen Qing would definitely start fighting each other again. However, not a few words warm yet. A voice suddenly came from not far away. Shen Qing, follow me. Tang Ling followed the sound and saw a zombie wearing the same clothes as Shen Qing. It was a female zombie who was at least 1.8 meters tall. She is tall and has no fat at all. She can even be said to have a perfect and hot figure. Just one glance made Tang Ling feel ashamed. The originally sloppy hair was held down by a black hat. Just by looking at her aura, Tang Ling could feel that this female zombie was definitely far stronger than her, and even stronger than Instructor Liu. Shen Qing, Sister Hong, what's wrong? Hongyu didn't explain much. After saying a few words, she rushed directly in the direction of the core city. Don't talk nonsense. Follow me quickly. Shen Qing can feel it. Hongyu's current state is the same as when she encountered the alien zombie beast king. Something happened somewhere in the core city. He rubbed Tang Ling's head. Shen Qing, I'm leaving first. After saying this, he waved to the mastiff again. Mastiff, gone. Mastiff, ah. The huge body turned into a black stream of light and appeared in front of Shen Qing and Tang Ling in just one breath. Shen Qing jumped up, stood firmly on the mastiff's back, and finally glanced at Tang Ling. Linger, pay attention to safety. Shen Qing paused, as if thinking. Finally, he smiled and said, there is more. Wait for me in the zombie army. After saying that, the mastiff turned into a black stream of light again and gradually moved away in the direction of the red moon. Tang Ling looked at the back of a zombie and a beast. For a long time, it seemed as if all the strength in her body had been drained away. The delicate body lay softly leaning on the ruins. Why, I feel green. It seems to have become very strange. Green, I'm waiting for you, hoping you can really come back to pick me up. On the way, the three zombies, Bai Wuhua, Yao Xiaoxiao, and Mu Bangtu, also met separately. Shen Qing asked puzzledly as she hurried on, Sister Hong, what happened? Hong Yu did not look back and wandered through the entire core city area at extremely fast speeds. But from beginning to end, his goal was clear. That is, the very center of the core urban area. Hong Yu, the underground city in Area 65 may really fall this time. But it doesn't matter to us. After all, we will return to the earthly world in a few days. But before that, something must not fall into the hands of those zombies. Bai Wuhua was confused after hearing this, scratched his head and said, Sister Hong, what is this? Also, which group of zombies are those zombies? Shen Qing, Gao Xiaoxiao, and Lao Mu didn't ask any questions and waited quietly for Hong Yu's next words. It didn't take long. Hong Yu bypassed the responsible hall area in the core city area and continued to rush towards the center. At the same time, Chi replied, How should I put it? That group of zombies is special. Now that Area 65 has fallen, all the executors who appear are related to them. Under Hong Yu's narration, Shen Qing and other zombies gradually understood. Turn out to be, in their world, artificial intelligence is not the only enemy of the zombie army. There is also a group of very special zombies. Those zombies call themselves New Humanity. The New Humanity here is different from the New Humanity the principal mentioned back then. The New Humans mentioned by Principal Zhang Kuang during the Awakening of Bloodline are the unified name for their group of zombies. It means the destruction of human beings and their replacement of human status. But the New Humans Hong Yu talks about are actually a group of guys who think they are far beyond the original humans. The most special thing about them is that they can control the executor. Because of this, they are even more convinced that they are the real new human beings in this world. To be honest, very nonsense. I don't know what Bai Wuhua and the others thought, but when Shen Qing heard these things, he just thought it was ridiculous. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. The zombies that were supposed to be strangulated by the executor were able to control the executor. This is simply outrageous. Open the door to outrageousness. It's so outrageous. Shen Qing, Sister Hong, what is the purpose of these zombies in attacking Area 65? Show off your power. Show off the power of your new human race. Shen Qing's question brought out the same doubt in Bai Wuhua's and others' minds. Hong Yu still didn't look back. She kept walking and replied at the same time, that's not the case. That group of zombies, their main purpose in attacking Area 65 should be the zombie energy core of the core tower. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. The zombies were shocked. Shen Qing. Zombie energy core. You mean, the energy core that provides daily maintenance for the dungeon in Area 65? Hong Yu nodded. Although I don't know their purpose of grabbing the energy core, that's most of the purpose. After all, when I was in the above world, I saw those guys destroying an underground city with my own eyes, and at the same time, they greatly strengthened the zombie energy core of that underground city. With the sound of the red moon falling, Shen Qing and the others have also arrived below the core tower. Core tower. Fear the underground city in Area 65, the center of the core city. One pillar held up the sky, seemingly supporting the entire ceiling above the dungeon. The core tower is made of silver-white metallic color. On top of the tower, two light pillars spread upward from the bottom. The light pillar is located in the tower and can be vaguely seen from outside. Shen Qing knew that those two light pillars were channels that continuously transported energy. Inside is the most primitive zombie energy core that contains great energy. Stop. Hong Yu frowned slightly. Looking around, the situation was as she expected. All the zombies guarding near the core tower were lying on the ground. From the looks of it, they should all be dead. Among them, there are some powerful ones. Obviously, the strength of that group of zombies cannot be ignored. Hongyu waved her hand and said, "Those guys are very strong. Originally, I didn't intend to drag you with them. But I may not be their opponent. Lao Bai and Xiao Xiao have pretty good defenses. In a normal battle, being careful will not put your life in danger." While speaking, Hongyu had already walked to the half-open door of the core tower. He looked back at Shen Qing and the other zombies before continuing. "Lao Bai, Xiao Xiao and I, the three of us will mainly deal with those zombies. The number of them in each operation is not large, so it won't be a big problem for the three of us to deal with them. Lao Mu, Shen Qing, after you find the zombie energy core, take it away quickly and leave us alone. Remember, protect the zombie energy core, and then wait until I take the initiative to find you." The words fell. Hongyu waved slightly. "Action. This time, don't reserve any strength. Whenever you encounter an enemy, use your killing move directly and never hold back." At the same time, the top of the core tower. A petite female zombie was lying on the fence, looking towards the spiral staircase below. "It's so tall, Shadow, you don't even know how to hold me down, I'm just a girl." Shadow. After steadily taking out the zombie energy core, Shadow did not leave in a hurry. Instead, he found a chair not far away. He just sat down with the zombie energy core in one hand. The female zombie pulled away from the fence, with a bright smile on her face and said, "Hey. Shadow, do you think they will be particularly surprised when they learn our true purpose?" Shadow. Still no answer. The shadow was like a statue, its body not moving at all after sitting there. From beginning to end, he didn't even blink his eyelids, just staring at the exit of the spiral staircase silently. The female zombie spread her hands in a bored manner. "TCH. You are so boring. No wonder the female zombies in the organization hate going on missions with you." "They're coming," Shadow suddenly spoke, grabbing the zombie energy core and getting up from the chair. The female zombie is still smiling. "Come, just come, we will surrender directly later, he he he." While the two zombies were talking, 5 figures had already walked out from the end of the spiral staircase. Several zombies' eyes met. Hongyu. As expected. Before Hongyu finished speaking, the female zombie suddenly snatched the zombie energy core from Shadow's hand. Then he kneeled and made a sliding shovel. Under Hongyu's shocked eyes, he came to her feet. The female zombie pushed the zombie's energy core up with both hands and said with a very frightened look, "Wow, it's actually a killing machine. We can't defeat you. We give in. The zombie energy core will be returned to you. Boss, please let me go." Shadow. Bai Wuhua's jaw dropped. "What the?" As calm as Lao Mu was, he couldn't help but twitch his eyelids downward. Gao Xiaoxiao had no reaction. Shen Qing frowned slightly. "What the hell is this female zombie?" Closing square bracket. Kneel down and admit defeat before the war begins. Closing square bracket. Also, killing machine. Isn't that the name Sister Hong used to have in the zombie army? Closing square bracket. Do these zombies know Sister Hong? Closing square bracket. Shen Qing was puzzled. Hongyu was even more confused. A bit confused. Result zombie energy core. Until she held it in her hands, she didn't figure out what kind of plane these zombies were trying to get into. But since we know the identity of the other party, there is naturally nothing to say. Throw the zombie energy core backward. Shen Qing. Take it and leave quickly. Leave these two zombies to you. The words are not finished yet. A figure has already passed by Hongyu's ear. I saw the female zombie pressing Hongyu's shoulder with one hand and jumping in the air. At the same time, a playful voice came. "Hee hee. Killing machine, let's play again next time. Bye bye." Hongyu turned around in a hurry but had already discovered it. The shadow from before is gone. The strange female zombie also disappeared. At the same time, Shen Qingye. Hongyu was shocked. Not good. Their target is not the zombie energy core, but Shen Qing. Core urban area. The cold wind whistled past my ears. The female zombie, who is less than 1.5 meters tall, is now running wildly carrying Shen Qing. Behind her was the shadow that had always opened her mouth. Hee hee hee, it feels so good. Shadow, do you think Killing Machine and the others are really confused now? Ha ha, it's funny just thinking about it. Shadow. Shen Qing, who was initially confused, gradually calmed down. Colorful energy also appeared on the body. Extreme body strengthening, strength amplification. Extreme body strengthening and agility increase. Extreme body strengthening and bone amplification. Ultimate body strengthening and self-healing increase. For a moment, all increases in extreme body strengthening are enabled. At the same time, Shen Qing did not dare to be careless, and her eyes were full of scarlet. Abnormal rage 58% increase. The female zombie also seemed to feel the changes in Shen Qing's shoulders. However, she did not react, but said softly and casually, "I advise you not to make trouble. Otherwise, you will die." Boom! A terrifying sense of oppression burst out from the female zombie without any warning. Shen Qing's expression changed instantly. Just the aura released by the female zombie actually gave him the illusion that the opponent was an insurmountable mountain. So strong. Closing square bracket. This female zombie is not even a bit stronger than Sister Hong. Closing square bracket. Shen Qing was shocked. There was no way he could overlap the current aura of the female zombie who was kneeling and sliding and shoveling. After a while, Shen Qing calmed down, gave up struggling and said, "Why did you tie me up?" The female zombies dodged a few times. At an extremely fast speed, he had already left the entire core city area. At the same time, the slender hand waved back. "Shadow, they are catching up, I leave it to you." Shadow suddenly stopped. "Yeah." Then he was seen turning around slowly, his eyes hidden in the darkness, staring like a snake at a zombie coming this way. "That zombie is Hongyu." The female zombie's footsteps never stopped, and the shadow spread a long distance in the blink of an eye. "You have some secrets we need. But don't worry, as long as you cooperate, we promise not to kill you." The word, kill, came out of this female zombie's mouth as easily as eating and drinking. To her, killing zombies seemed completely normal. "Shen Qing, what secret?" The female zombie chuckled. "Of course it's you." The words are not finished yet. Just hear a bang. A huge alien zombie beast king soared into the sky and directly blocked the female zombie's path. The female zombie didn't intend to continue to entangle, so she tried to avoid the other party. But this alien zombie beast king is like a tiger eyeing its prey and will never give up easily. "Shen Qing. Mastiff, mastiff." Roar. The female zombie smacked her lips. "Tisk. It's really troublesome. I said, could you please make way for your pet?" "Shen Qing, what do you think?" The female zombie sighed with a mournful face. Hey, can you see the situation clearly? I'm still carrying you." Shen Qing didn't rush too much, and the extreme body strengthening and abnormal rage were activated at the same time, and broke free from the shackles of the female zombie as quickly as possible. All this happened very quickly, in the blink of an eye. Seeing Shen Qing run away, the female zombie looked even more helpless. Hey, don't be like this, okay? If you do this, it will be difficult for me to cross paths when I go back." As he spoke, the female zombie looked like a ghost. It disappeared in just a moment. Before Shen Qing could react, she was already standing on top of the mastiff. Followed by, "Big dog, do you know that you are really mean?" Boom, a punch fell. The mastiff didn't react in time, and his huge body was knocked directly to the ground by the punch. At the same time, struggling with his limbs to get up, he found that a zombie that was much smaller than it actually had the power to completely contain it. "Pa-da, jump down." The female zombie ignored the mastiff and walked straight towards Shen Qing. As she walked, she patted her shoulders and said with a smile, Come on. I'll lend you my sister's shoulders. This time you have to lie down tight. If you fall, my sister will kill you." His tone was as calm as unrippled water. But the words between the lines were like bombs exploding in the lake, causing waves in Shen Qing's heart. Roar. The mastiff stood up desperately, its animal eyes scarlet as it tried to protect its master. However, roll. The female zombie suddenly looked back. Just one word and one look can make the mastiff crawl in shock. Seeing that the mastiff was being honest, the female zombie said again, "Good dog. Be patient, or I will eat you tonight." The words fell. She has also walked to Shen Qing. During this period, Shen Qing told herself many times to step up and run. But the terrifying sense of oppression made it difficult for him to move. The feeling was very anomaly, just like the ghost on the bed in the original human records. It was like a huge mountain was pressing down on his shoulders, leaving him with no courage to take a step forward. Shen Qing was shocked. How strong is this female zombie? Closing square bracket. Compared with her momentum, I am even like a small boat in the ocean. Closing square bracket. And she is the kind of giant thousand-layered wolf that can kill me just by getting close at will. Closing square bracket. The female zombie didn't hesitate at all, picked up Shen Qing, walked around the mastiff, and continued running towards the distance. This time, Shen Qing, who was lying on the female zombie's shoulder, was honest. He never spoke again from beginning to end. After a while. On the contrary, the female zombie couldn't help but said, "Hey. Your name is Shen Qing, right?" Shen Qing. "Yeah." Female zombie. "Can you please call me Sister Chi-Chi?" Shen Qing. Chi-Chi was a little unhappy and slapped Shen Qing on the buttocks. "Hey. I'm talking to you, hurry up, call Sister Chi-Chi and listen." Shen Qing. Then he saw Chi-Chi, who had an eccentric personality, and suddenly stopped. In confusion, Shen Qing put it in front of him. Only then did Shen Qing notice the darkness on Chi-Chi's expression. Gudong. Shen Qing couldn't help but spit. Just because, at this moment, Chi-Chi's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Shen Qing was going crazy. Am I just a title? What about this guy? Closing square bracket. Are you sick? Closing square bracket. But feeling the look in Chi-Chi's eyes that wanted to kill him, Shen Qing finally compromised. Shen Qing. Sister Chi-Chi. As soon as these words came out. Killing intent. Sweep away. Chi-Chi, who wanted to kill him 1 second, actually laughed out loud the next second. He picked up Shen Qing again, jumped up and down happily and continued on his way. Chi-Chi. Hey, good little brother. Don't worry, sister will love you well. Shen Qing felt numb inside. This female zombie is sick. Definitely sick. Closing square bracket. It didn't take long. Shadow chased after him. Chi-Chi asked without looking back, "Done?" Shadow. "Yeah." Chi-Chi chuckled. "It's okay for you. Although I don't like your character, your strength is extremely rare in our organization." Tisk tisk. The famous killing machine was killed by you in less than 3 minutes. Shadow. Shish. Hide. Zombies are coming. As soon as Ying Ying and Chi-Chi flashed behind a building, several figures appeared where they were just now. One of the middle-aged zombies with gold-rimmed eyes frowned slightly. Shen Qing's pupils dilated, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. Just because. The zombies that appeared at this time were none other than others. It is the office responsible for the defense of the sub-city. General person in charge, Dao Liang. Chi-Chi saw Dao Liang. The beautiful eyebrows couldn't help but frown slightly. Shadow, can you handle it? Shadow. 55. Although he said few words, he still let Chi-Chi know that the powerful Shadow had only half a chance of winning against Dao Liang. Shadow. I'll go, you run. Mission first. The words fell. Without giving Chi-Chi a chance to refute, the Shadow turned into a black stream of light and instantly appeared on the side of Dao Liang. The other zombies that followed Dao Liang didn't even react. The cold sword flashed. The head of a zombie stationed in the defense was cut off alive. Dao Liang responded the fastest. But it was still a step too late. With his brows furrowed, all the power in his body gathered together, and his indestructible fist hit the Shadow at an extremely fast speed. However, Shadow didn't seem to want to get entangled with it. The figure disappeared again. There was a snapping sound, and the head of a defensive zombie fell to the ground. Dao Liang, you die. Boom. He hit the ground with both fists, picking up layers of dust, and a terrifying shock wave spread around him with him as the center. The nearby houses were even overturned on the spot by the shock wave. Chi-Chi, who was hiding far away, couldn't help but smacked his lips again when he saw this scene. Tisk tisk. Strong. Although this guy is a high-level bloodline zombie, his overall bloodline is infinitely close to apex level. The characteristics of the bloodline are also pure power explosion, which makes it difficult to deal with monsters without shadows. The words fell. Chi-Chi stopped watching the battle and continued running far away with Shen Qing on his back. This time, their mission is not to destroy Area 65. Nor is it about snatching the zombie energy core in Area 65. It's not just a stupid display of power. Rather, capture Shen Qing. At the same time, this side of the Red Moon. When Bai Wuhua, Gao Xiaoxiao, and Mu Lengtu arrived, Hongyu was already lying on the ground. However, the rising and falling of her chest from time to time told them that Hongyu was not in danger of her life. Gao Xiaoxiao stepped forward, hugged Hongyu and helped her up. "Sister Hong, are you okay?" Hongyu shook her head, with a trace of unwillingness in her eyes. "I'm fine. But Shen Qing may not come back." Bai Wuhua clenched her fists angrily. "Why? They lost all the energy cores of the zombies, but why did they tie up Xiao Qingzi?" Hongyu was silent because he didn't know the reason. But she had another hunch. The reason why this group of zombies calling themselves new humans is Shen Qing is definitely related to Shen Qing's strange bloodline and characteristics. At this moment, Lao Mu suddenly spoke. "The secret of Shen Qing." Bai Wuhua looked confused. "What the hell? What secrets does Xiao Qingzi have? Is he of apex level bloodline?" "Mu Bangtu, you are so stupid." Then he stopped talking. It made Bai Wuhua tear up the pig head stew with his own hands. Hongyu waved her hand to indicate that now was not the time to joke. Her eyes fell on Mu Lengtu and asked, "Old Mu, did you find something?" Mu Lengtu nodded. "In addition to the secrets you know about Shen Qing, I guess there are even bigger secrets. This may be their purpose in arresting Shen Qing." Hongyu stood up. Although her body was injured, most of her injuries had already recovered. In the previous battle, most of the moves used by Shadow were related to the short sword in his hand. He did not kill Hongyu, but cut off all his hamstrings and hand tendons. Fortunately, zombies recover very quickly, and they can speed up the recovery of Hongyu's injuries even under abnormal violence. Therefore, during this period of time, Hongyu can recover a little. Standing up with the help of Gao Xiaoxiao, Hongyu looked at the distance and sighed. "It seems that we can't catch up if we want to. It depends on whether the Mastiff can stop her and whether Shen Qing can save herself and escape." Recalling the battle just now, Hongyu felt lingering fear. The opponent's strength is simply ridiculously strong. Hongyu initially guessed that the guy named Shadow was at least as powerful as an apex-level bloodline zombie. At the same time, the bloodline awakening value is at least 60%. New humans, closing square bracket. With such strength, the plane is a bit too scary. Closing square bracket. I am afraid that if the zombie army cannot come back in time, Shen Qing will be destined to be taken away by them. Closing square bracket. After her injuries recovered a little, Hongyu waved her hand and said, "Let's go. Try to catch up and take a look. If possible, I will activate the highest abnormally violent increase. When I entangle them, you can run away with Shen Qing." The words fell. The four zombies also chased in the direction where Chi-Chi left just now. The ladder of life. The strength of the Fissioners is terrifying to the extreme. Even if Lu Hong is very powerful, his bone strengthening is also very powerful. But in front of the Fissioner, he was like a chick, unable to stir up even a stray wave. There is already a mess below the ladder of life. There were countless dead and injured zombies. Chi-Chi came here carrying Shen Qing and waved directly to the Fissioner. Next moment, under Shen Qing's disbelieving gaze, the Fissioner turned into a stream of light and disappeared directly. Chi-Chi grinned. "Hee hee, isn't it awesome? Are you interested in joining us? If you join, I will ask the boss to get you a Fissioner to play with." Shen Qing did not answer, but kept replaying the anomaly scene just now in his mind. Such a big Fissioner, just disappear. Closing square bracket. It seems that it is exactly what Sister Hong said, whether it is an executor or a Fissioner. Closing square bracket. The reason why they were able to pass through the ladder of life and appear in the dungeon in Area 65 is because of these zombies. Closing square bracket. Seeing that Shen Qing didn't answer, Chi-Chi didn't ask any more questions. First, I looked back at Area 65, which was almost reduced to an abandoned city. Then he looked at the ladder of life leading to the earthly world. Then, without waiting for the shadow, he ran directly towards the ladder of life. But, just as Chi-Chi took a step forward, a cold voice came from one side without any warning. "I advise you to put him down." Chi-Chi's body tensed up suddenly, and then she carried Shen Qing and retreated into the distance at high speed. After she thought she was at a safe distance, she looked in the direction of the sound. However, there was nothing there. Chi-Chi was surprised. "Huh? What's going on?" Still not letting go. Suddenly, the sound appears. Chi-Chi's entire body was like exploding hair, and his bloodline characteristics were directly activated. In an instant, Chi-Chi's blue-gray skin was covered with jagged barbs. She also put Shen Qing behind her. Abnormal skin, strong thorns. The blue-gray skin gradually turns to blue-green as the barbs appear. At the same time, the greenish-green turned into dark green little by little, and Chi-Chi's skin even had a golden glow. Abnormal skin, enhanced hardness. His eyes turned towards the sound. This time, Chi-Chi and Shen Qing finally saw the owner of the voice. It was a male zombie. The male zombie is nearly 1.9 meters tall. He is not tall and tall, but rather thin. But for some reason, his thin figure gives people a terrifying explosive power. In Chi-Chi's eyes, the aura of this zombie that suddenly appeared gave her a warning of extreme danger. The male zombie's face was not covered up intentionally, but for some reason, Chi-Chi and Shen Qing couldn't see his face clearly. Very weird. The male zombie smiled softly and said very calmly, "Keep him and you will live. I insist on taking it away." Death. Chi-Chi considers herself extraordinary. Apex level bloodline plus the bloodline characteristics of abnormal skin. Today, the bloodline awakening value is 59%. In this zombie world, although it cannot be compared with the perversion of Long Qianyang, it is still an extremely powerful existence. But facing this male zombie in front of me, Chi-Chi couldn't help but feel the intention to retreat in her heart. Who is he? Chi-Chi was shocked in her heart. Since joining the organization, she has never met such a powerful guy. Even the leader of the organization is incomparable to this male zombie in terms of strength. This male zombie is simply ridiculously strong. Aha! Under Chi-Chi's vigilant gaze, in just an instant, the male zombie appeared behind Chi-Chi without any warning, and the cold voice came again. "Hee, it seems you chose the latter. Then go to hell." The words fell. A raging stream of flames centered on the male zombie and swept in all directions. The oppressive feeling made Shen Qing roll her eyes. Shen Qing had only one thought in her head before she fell into coma. What the hell is going on today? Such powerful zombies come one after another. Closing square bracket. Then he fell into a coma. Chi-Chi has extraordinary strength. Even so, under the aura of the male zombie, her legs began to tremble, and her petite body was like a small boat in the storm. It seemed like it would be blown apart by the strong wind in the next second. Chi-Chi held on to his body, gritted his teeth and said, "Don't you know who the senior is? Why block my new human plan?" Should she say it or not, Chi-Chi is also a tough guy. When faced with such a powerful zombie, she was still able to ask such a question. The male zombie chuckled, his tone full of disdain. "Me? He is just an unqualified father who failed to fulfill his father's responsibilities." Chi-Chi's pupils suddenly dilated, and her eyes were full of horror. You are. Male zombie. You know too much. Ha! The knife in his hand disappeared in a flash, and Chi-Chi's eyes were still wide open with disbelief written in them. But her head fell to the ground with a thud. It wasn't until the moment her body and head were separated that her last words seemed to be delayed. "I know too much. But, isn't this what you told me?" The male zombie ignored Chi-Chi's body. Silently walking to the unconscious Shen Qing, his originally cold eyes gradually turned soft. Kneeling down, his blue-gray but spotless fingers stroked Shen Qing's head. This scene is like a kind father comforting a child he has not seen for many years. Then, the male zombie didn't leave any words, and his figure just disappeared from the place without any warning. It's like he's never been here. The underground city in Area 65 was completely occupied. Although the Fissioners have disappeared, the high-level executors left behind have completely turned this formerly peaceful dungeon into a dilapidated purgatory. When Shen Qing woke up, he was no longer at the ladder of life. On the contrary, it is the Eastern excavation group that is full of familiar flavor. Bai Wuhua said in shock, "Sister Hong. Xiao Qingzi is awake." Following Bai Wuhua's voice, Hongyu, Gao Xiaoxiao, and Mu Lengtu all gathered around. Seeing Shen Qing who had opened his eyes, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Bai Wuhua helped Shen Qing up and said, "You kid really scared us. We thought you would never come back after they took you away. After all, that little girl is very handsome." Gao Xiaoxiao's brain was printed on Bai Wuhua's head, and he said angrily, "Old Bai, can you be more formal?" Hongyu approached, but her beautiful eyebrows frowned slightly. Shen Qing, where is the female zombie? Shen Qing was stunned. You mean Chi-Chi? Several zombies were confused again, especially Bai Wuhua, who pointed at Shen Qing and said directly to Gao Xiaoxiao, look. Xiao Qingzi even knows people's names, but you still say that little girl is not handsome. Gao Xiaoxiao's face was livid and he said angrily, old. Bai, tell me carefully, do you know that the name has half a cent to do with whether the girl is handsome or not? Hongyu ignored Bai Wuhua and Gao Xiaoxiao. Instead, he stared straight at Shen Qing and asked, Shen Qing, where did the Chi-Chi you mentioned go? Shen Qing frowned slightly, recalling the scene before he fell into coma. Then, she was abducted by Chi-Chi, and when she was about to take the ladder of life to the earthly world, she met a male zombie who was infinitely stronger than Chi-Chi. The arrogance released by the male zombie knocked him unconscious. Shen Qing, Sister Hong, I don't know what happens next. However, from what I heard from the male zombie before I passed out, it seemed that he had no intention of letting Chi-Chi go. She should be killed. Hongyu silently lit a cigarette and hesitated before speaking slowly. Chi-Chi disappeared. The guy named Shadow is also missing. I'm worried they're not dead. The words fell. Hongyu asked again. By the way, Shen Qing, do you remember the face of that male zombie? Shen Qing shook his head. He also felt weird when Hongyu mentioned this matter. After all, the male zombie's face was clearly unshielded, but he just couldn't see his face clearly. As if, mosaic. After describing this moment, Hongyu also left the Eastern Excavation Group first. Bai Wuhua and the others looked at each other, wondering what happened to Hongyu suddenly. Ever since they came back with Shen Qing, Hongyu's condition has not been right. Sometimes he sighed, sometimes he was in a daze, and sometimes he looked ferocious. It was as if she was recalling something from the past that she really didn't want to remember. Shen Qing himself was not injured, and his coma was purely caused by the aura of the male zombie. Therefore, I didn't feel any physical discomfort after waking up. Soon, pushing open the door of the Eastern Excavation Team, Shen Qing looked towards the underground city of Area 65. The next second, his eyes widened with shock. District 65. Completely defeated. At this time, in Area 65, no complete building can be seen at a glance. The executors appear to have been cleared, but want to patch up the dungeon. The cost is much less than even having to rebuild one. Shen Qing knows. Area 65 is completely finished. By the way, I don't know if that girl Tang Ling is okay. Looking at the dilapidated Area 65, Shen Qing suddenly thought of Tang Ling, and almost instinctively planned to search among the ruins of the city. But before he could leave, Hongyu's voice was already faintly heard. However, this voice was filled with a sense of weakness. Hongyu, there's no need to look for her. Your little girlfriend is fine. She has already followed the zombie army to the ground. After hearing this result, Shen Qing breathed a sigh of relief. Although the reunion was short, it was a bit regretful. But as long as he knew that Tang Ling was fine. Looking back towards the red moon. At this time, the red moon was leaning against a rock wall, with countless cigarette butts at its feet. There was even more smoke around her, and Hongyu's brows never relaxed. Shen Qing stepped forward and asked, Sister Hong, what's wrong with you? Hongyu shook her head and did not answer this question. Instead, he looked up at the dark ceiling above. After a long time, he whispered, Shen Qing, get ready. We are leaving Area 65 tomorrow. The next day. Pack the items that need to be taken away from the zombie family home. Shen Qing, Hongyu and the other zombies came to the ladder of life again. Just arrived. I saw a familiar zombie walking towards me. It was Lao Chi whom I had met in the core city before. The guy from the zombie army in Area 77. Lao Chi walked over with a smile, glanced at the 5 zombies including Shen Qing and said, have you packed them all? Let's go. Even if you don't want to leave this time, I'm afraid it will be difficult. After all, who would have dared to think that the underground city in Area 65 would fall in one day, and all the Fissioners would come out? Tisk tisk. Hongyu didn't answer, and the other zombies didn't speak either. Lao Chi didn't want to be bored and silently led Hongyu and the others towards the stairway of life. Hongyu had told Shen Qing about Lao Chi before. Lao Chi is a high-level bloodline zombie. He is very powerful and even has the ability to be the deputy commander of the zombie army. Of course, the strength of his strength also determines his privileges among the zombie army. Lao Chi has the power to take any zombie out of any dungeon. That's why he was able to take Hong Yu and his zombies away with such confidence. As for, why doesn't such a powerful zombie become the deputy commander instead of staying in Area 65 to do these things? Hong Yu's answer at the time was, "You ask me, who should I ask?" Several zombies, led by Lao Chi, quickly arrived at the entrance of the Ladder of Life. However, before Lao Chi could say a few more words, the sights of the zombies guarding the Ladder of Life seemed to fall on Hong Yu, Shen Qing and the others at the same time. Then he saw it. Lao Chi was talking about something. The group of guard zombies didn't listen at all and walked straight towards Shen Qing. As soon as they arrived, one of the leading zombies spoke directly to Hong Yu. Hong Yu, the former captain of the 14th team of the zombie army in District 65. Hong Yu frowned slightly, but still answered honestly, "It's me. The leader of the zombie army. Hello, I am the captain of the 3rd team of the zombie army's Ladder of Life Guard department. You can call me Cheng Feng. Hong Yu, we need to check with you about something. We hope you can cooperate and don't leave Area 65 for the time being." What does Cheng Feng mean by this? Shen Qing and Bai Wuhua didn't know the reason behind it, but Hong Yu was clear in her heart. Most of the reasons why this problem occurs is because the zombie army learned about what happened yesterday. Shen Qing and the others wore Red Moon's exclusive zombie army combat uniforms and challenged various executioners in Area 65. How could such a move not attract the attention of the zombie army? Only, what Hong Yu didn't expect was that now that Area 65 was like this, the zombie army would still focus on them. Looking directly at Cheng Feng, Hong Yu took a breath and said, "Sorry, I refuse." Kaka. As soon as Hong Yu finished speaking, several guard zombies led by Cheng Feng immediately stood ready. Clearly always ready to take action. Lao Chi on the side held Cheng Feng down with a smile on his face, but there was a hint of threat between the lines. "Captain Cheng, can I ask you one last time? Are you sure you don't want me to take them away?" Cheng Feng's face turned pale. "No. The zombie army personally issued an order that Hong Yu and other zombies must stay in Area 65, waiting for further verification." Lao Chi still smiled. "Okay. Is this good? In the name of Area 77, I will make Area 65 disappear." A smile hides a knife. To speak out is to be frightening. Cheng Feng's indifferent expression couldn't help but change his expression when he heard Lao Chi's words. "You, Lao Chi, what are you? Let the commander of District 65 come out and see if he dares to stop me." He was still smiling, but at this moment Lao Chi's smile was more intimidating than his murderous eyes. Cheng Feng also acted under orders, neither up nor down for a while. As the saying goes, it's hard to get off the tiger. However, just at this time, a cheerful voice suddenly came from the entrance of the Ladder of Life. Following the sound, there was a burst of applause. "Ha ha, Lao Chi, are you threatening our zombies in Area 65? I didn't expect that you, an old immortal, are still alive. I thought you would have died at the hands of some fissioner after disappearing for so long." Go with the reputation. A middle-aged male zombie with a burly figure and a cheerful look between his eyebrows walked out of the entrance of the Ladder of Life. Lao Chi snorted and replied, "Am I dead? Am I missing? You're so funny. I've been in the core city of District 65 for so long. I really don't believe you don't know where I am. Do you think your surname is He?" At this time, Hong Yu whispered in Shen Qing's ear, "This is He Junwang, the commander of the ground zombie army in Area 65. Hearing this, Shen Qing's pupils were obviously startled. Today's posture is a bit too big. The leaders of the ground zombie army in Area 65 came out. Before Shen Qing awakened his bloodline, he heard the teacher talk about this He Junwang in school. He Junwang is the current commander of District 65 and the airborne commander selected from the zombie army of District 1. I heard, He Junwang's teacher was Long Qianyang. This guy has apex-level bloodline, plus a very special bloodline characteristic. The bloodline awakening value reaches a terrifying 81%. The strength is terrifying. It would be an understatement to say that he can tear a mutant apart with his hands. But, a few days ago, because a Fissioner camp was discovered in Area 65, most of the ground zombie army in Area 65 was transferred there. The same is true for He Junwang. How long has it been since Area 65 fell? This guy has already rushed back. Little did Shen Qing know that the purpose of He Junwang rushing back in such a hurry was actually for them, the zombies in the Eastern Excavation Team. Walking around Lao Qi, He Junwang patted his shoulder with a smile. Subsequently, his eyes fell on Hongyu, whose cheerful personality destined him to be outspoken. He Junwang. Hongyu, were you the unfamiliar zombie army yesterday? Hongyu frowned, but nodded. Yes. He Junwang glanced around Shen Qing and other zombies with interest, and said with great satisfaction, not bad, not bad. Among the 5 zombies, there is only one elementary bloodline zombie, and the others are middle level and high level. I really don't know if the person in charge of screening in the zombie army is blind, so he let such a good seedling be lost. Hongyu's face turned watery. You don't know. He Junwang spread his hands. Of course I don't know. If I know, no matter what the bloodline characteristics are, the upper limit of the bloodline level is here. Even if the bloodline trait is useless, it definitely has different uses. Said. He Junwang stretched out his hand towards Hongyu and said, Hongyu, the former leader of the zombie army in District 65 is mentally ill. He Junwang, am not like that. To be honest, I have long wanted to drag you back into the zombie army again. Now is the time for you 4 zombies to form a new team. How about joining our zombie army in Area 65? Unknowingly. Shen Qing. This seemingly elementary bloodline zombie was completely ignored by He Junwang. Shen Qing felt bitter. NND, a team of 4 zombies. 4 good seedlings. Closing square bracket. Obviously I am the most monster among these zombies, okay. Closing square bracket. Are you saying that other zombies are blind? Closing square bracket. I've taken it, it's really blinding your dog's eyes. Closing square bracket. Certainly, Shen Qing would definitely not say this. After all, his current bloodline level and bloodline characteristics cannot be explained at all. However, seeing Hong Yu's hesitant expression, Shen Qing felt a little panicked again. Sister Hong doesn't really agree, does she? Closing square bracket. However, the results were not unexpected. Hongyu shook her head and declined He Junwang's invitation. Sorry, we have decided to leave the entire Area 65, so I think we should forget about what you said. He Junwang's raised arm stayed in midair. He was slightly stunned at first, and then retracted his arm with a calm expression. The originally kind eyes gradually turned into a hint of anger. He Junwang chuckled suddenly, okay. But you absolutely can't leave today. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and the guarding zombie army headed by Cheng Feng immediately surrounded Hong Yu and Shen Qing. At the same time, He Junwang said in a cold voice, all members of the Eastern Excavation Group in Area 65 Underground City have an unknown increase in their awakening value. The zombie army ordered him not to leave Area 65 for the time being, pending further investigation by the zombie army in Area 65. Furthermore, regarding the Executor attack in Area 65 this time, as the commander of Area 65, I suspect that the Eastern Excavation Group and the New Humans may be secretly colluding. Now, crush all 4 members of the Eastern Excavation Team away. Swish. The guarding zombie army all approached Hongyu, obviously looking like they were going to capture Hongyu and Bai Wuhua. Hongyu frowned and bit her lip, but she refused to refute her at all. Because she knew that He Junwang was determined not to let them leave. Even if they had wings, they would never be able to fly out. Sudden, Cheng Feng pointed at Shen Qing and asked, Commander, do you still want to arrest this kid? He Junwang punched Shen Qing with a scrutinizing gaze, and then waved his hand directly. Don't worry about him, he's just a piece of trash with a primary bloodline. Then, under the watchful eyes of Shen Qing and Lao Qi, Hongyu, Bai Wuhua, Gao Xiaoxiao, and Mu Langtu were all taken away by the zombie army. See this. He Junwang smiled with satisfaction and waved to Lao Qi, with a smile full of disdain, Lao Qi. You should be more discerning in what you do in the future. This is not your Area 77. You are nothing. Ha ha ha. Hongyu and the others were taken away. He Junwang also left. Only 2 zombies, Shen Qing and Lao Qi, were left standing there. Moment. Lao Chi sighed, and his originally strong figure seemed a little slumped. He knew very well that this time the plan was completely finished. High-level corpse crystal veins. I'm afraid I don't even have any hair now. Before leaving, Lao Chi glanced at Shen Qing again and finally sighed. Alas, then head towards the ladder of life. It seems that he is planning to leave Area 65. Shen Qing suddenly shouted, Senior Qi, please wait. Lao Chi stopped and asked with some confusion, little guy, do you have anything else to do? Shen Qing nodded, with a hint of complexity in his eyes. Senior Qi, I want to rescue Sister Hong and the others. Do you have any ideas? Hearing this, Lao Chi was actually amused by Shen Qing's words. However, his smile was not a happy smile, but a mockery of Shen Qing. Lao Chi, just you. Save Hongyu and the others. Don't have such wishful thinking. Since you are a junior bloodline zombie, just be a grassroots zombie. It's true that the Red Moon gave you hope, but now that hope has been shattered, it's time to wake up from your daydreams. Lao Chi was very impolite in what he said, and could even be said to be outspoken. Devaluing Shen Qing is worthless. However, Shen Qing was not angry, but continued to ask carefully, Senior Qi, if you don't want to save me, just forget it. But do you know where Sister Hong and the others will be taken? Lao Chi frowned slightly, originally planning to scold Shen Qing, a brat who didn't know the heights of the world. But when he noticed the same look in Shen Qing's eyes, he hesitated. Because Lao Chi actually read a message from Shen Qing's eyes. That is, he really wants to save him. Lao Chi was shocked. Is this kid really planning to save Hongyu? Closing square bracket. A junior bloodline zombie with no characteristics at all. Who gave him the confidence to rush to rescue Hongyu? Closing square bracket. Does this guy have any secrets? Closing square bracket. After thinking about it, Lao Chi actually became interested in Shen Qing. After stroking his beard, Lao Chi put away the serious smile on his face and said, Little guy, as a junior bloodline zombie, you want to go head-to-head with the zombie army in District 65. Do you have to save Hongyu? I don't know, what is your purpose? Shen Qing replied, because I am going to the earthly world, and Hongyu and the others are my companions. Lao Chi pinched his chin and said softly, that's it. Then why can you save me? With your primary bloodline or with your sharp tongue? Or are you saying that you have a big face? The zombie army will give you face. Or maybe you have other methods. What Lao Chi said before is all false. The most important thing is the last issue. Unfortunately, although Shen Qing is young, he is not stupid. When Lao Chi finished speaking, he already understood that this old guy was trying to find out his background. Shen Qing tried his best, biting his lips and frowning slightly. After hesitating for a long time, he replied, well, I do have a secret method. I think this secret method should be able to save Sister Hong. Hear the words. Lao Chi suddenly looked surprised. After Hongyu was taken away, she thought she would finally get water from a bamboo basket, but she didn't expect that this most inconspicuous junior bloodline zombie could bring a new surprise. Lao Chi suppressed the excitement in his heart and asked, come on, tell me what the secret method is. If possible, I might help you rescue Hongyu. Lao Chi is also a veteran, and he is good at word games. He will save her only if it is feasible, not if Shen Qing reveals the secret method. What Lao Chi actually meant was to see if Shen Qing was worth the risk. The corners of Shen Qing's lips raised slightly, and he knew that Lao Chi had taken the bait. He immediately waved his hand to Lao Chi, and when Lao Chi came closer, he lay down and said in his ear, Senior Qi, come with me and I'll show you my big baby. Eastern Excavation Group. When Lao Chi followed Shen Qing here, he still had a puzzled expression on his face. On the way, he had asked Shen Qing no less than 5 times, but Shen Qing's answer was always, you'll know when the time comes. However, now that they were standing in front of the Eastern Excavation team, Shen Qing still didn't say anything. Lao Chi's only patience was exhausted, and he even began to wonder, had he been tricked by this kid? But, the next second, Shen Qing stopped suddenly, and nodded to Lao Chi with a smile on his face. Then, he pointed his finger at the mastiff that had been following them all the way and said with a smile, Senior Qi. My secret method is, it. Lao Chi looked at it and his face darkened instantly. At the same time, there was a hint of anger in those old eyes, and even a hint of murderous intent. Lao Qi grabbed Shen Qing's collar and said angrily, "Little brat, are you kidding me?" Shen Qing still had a smile on her face, and there was no panic from beginning to end. Lao Qi frowned. Shen Qing moved her chin behind him and said with a smile, "Senior Qi. My personal recommendation. You'd better put me down quickly and look back. Otherwise, I think you might be in trouble." Shadows appeared, as if covering the sky. A pair of huge beast eyes were staring at him quietly from behind Lao Qi. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.